the Mets.
Last night, the Jays tried to put a SkyDome cap on their Coco with Carlos. Meanwhile, Rick regained righteous Reed form just in time. Mike's timely hitting provided the gamer. Finally, the smiles were back. With Bobby Jones himself again, the Mets are bumping back into contention. A view of downtown Toronto from Toronto Island across Lake Ontario, and welcome to Toronto, Ontario, where the New York Mets play the third and final game of this interleague series with the Blue Jays here on Fox Sports Net. Welcome aboard, everybody. It's Chris Carpenter tonight for the Blue Jays against Bobby Jones for the New York Mets. Mike Crispino with you for Mets Baseball on Fox Sports Net. Last night, one piece of the puzzle came into focus for the Mets. Rick Reed back in the rotation, got himself righted, kept his team in the game. Now tonight, it's Bobby Jones trying to regain 97 form. The former All-Star starts tonight. He's had 5 good ones in a row for the Mets, and they're hoping this is number 6. Now with more, here's Gary Thorne along with Fran Healy.
Mike, thanks very much. For the New York Mets, this rotation always in a state of flux a bit because Rick Reed, you don't know if the injury is going to kick in again. And with Bobby Jones, you're going to be able to get him through the season and give the chance for the Mets to win in his starts.
Well, Bobby Jones in his last outing at Fenway Park in Boston, he was extremely impressive. And what did he impress with? Surprisingly, his fastball. Throwing the ball by some pretty good fastball hitters. And if you watch closely, most of the strikes are up high. So he had good velocity on that high fastball. And there are his numbers from his last 5 starts. But in Boston, very impressive with the velocity.
And the 8 strikeouts are evidence of the velocity that he had in that game, and he'll need it tonight. This Toronto team continues to be the leading offensive team in the American League. And Jim Fregosi, the manager, said the night before the game, when asked, can somebody win the Triple Crown, he said, I wouldn't put that on Carlos, but Carlos Delgado.
Well, he certainly is having a Triple Crown year. He's going to have to deal with Nomar Garciaparra as far as batting average is concerned, but he crushed that ball off Rick Reed last night. That ball got into the seats in a hurry. Delgado uses the whole field, has all kinds of power, and defensively, he is really improving. Outstanding play in last night's ball game, taking an extra base hit, a potential extra base hit away from Joe McEwing. Look at the numbers since 1996, 167 dingers.
He is one of the game's best. Carlos Delgado, he will be in the lineup tonight. Interleague play for the New York Mets concludes when we come back. They wrap up this series against the Jays. Everybody, tonight New York Mets baseball is being brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you. By AT&T, now get local and long-distance service all in one. AT&T Local, one rate New York. And by Toyota, every day. Another beautiful day. Very, very cool this evening for this time of year, and very pleasant. Some of the boats that are outside on the Great Lake here, which this ballpark is only about a couple blocks from. All right, closed captioning is brought to you by The Wiz, your ticket to entertainment. Take a look at the umpiring crew for tonight's game. Brought to you by clickandsettle.com. Settle your legal disputes online before your expenses get out of line. Veteran Terry Kraft will have the plate tonight. Bill Cousy will be at first base, Paul Schreiber at second, and Tim McClellan at third base. Gary Thorne, Fran Healy, and interleague play concludes for the Mets with this ball game tonight.
And Bobby Valentine will send out this lineup to take on the Blue Jays tonight. Leading off for the Mets at Lenny Harris. He'll be followed by Derek Bell and then Edgardo Alfonzo. Mike Piazza following Alfonzo. Alfonzo second in the team in average and RBIs. Piazza leading in both categories. He'll be followed by Zeal, Peyton, Agbayani, McEwing at second base, and at shortstop tonight, David Lamb.
There's the man the Mets will go after tonight, 25-year-old right-hander Chris Carpenter. Ace of their staff for most of last year. This year, the ERA is up almost 2 runs per game.
Great build for a pitcher. If you're looking at his scouting report, he's 6'6", 225 pounds. He's overpowering with that fastball. At times, it doesn't have real good movement on it. Swooping curve. And he's improved with his changeup, but he's a young pitcher, 24 years old, from Exeter, New Hampshire. He was a #1 draft pick for the Blue Jays.
New Hampshire native.
Yeah, an outstanding hockey player.
The only player in Major League Baseball who comes from the Granite State at this point in time.
The weather's not conducive to baseball up there in New Hampshire, like Maine.
Pretty tough.
Although beautiful states.
In the summer.
That's
and in the
right.
winter if you like to ski. We're ready to go as the Mets wrap it up against Toronto, and Lenny Harris is playing in that leadoff spot. He'll be at third base in tonight's game for the New York Mets. 3 starts in the spot, 3 for 7 in leading off. Turned to bunt and takes that pitch inside, drew the bat back, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Lenny.
Well, Lenny Harris with 2 steals in last night's ball game. He's 35 years old. And the only other player to have a 2-steal game this year over 35 around Lenny Harris's age, Barry Bonds.
Not bad, and he rips that one into the corner in right field, way back. Goodbye home run. A leadoff homer for Lenny Harris off Carpenter. And the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Lenny Harris has been saying, I want to contribute. Haven't had a chance to do that. Now with the injuries, he's doing it.
Boy, that ball got out of here in a hurry. In the open, we showed a ball that Carlos Delgado hit last night. The ball jumped over the right field wall. Well, this ball acted like a golf ball. When he hit it, it continued to carry. The ball was down in an area where he would have to golf, but he knew it was going all the way. So a home run by Lenny Harris, leading it off for the Mets.
It's just his 2nd home run of the year and the 1st since joining New York.
Oh, ball just kept, it looked like it picked up velocity as it got up into the air.
Man. A shot by Lenny Harris off Carpenter, who, as you saw, has been bothered by the home run this year. Here is Derek Bell, 2 for 10 in the series so far. Bell a chopper to third base. Bautista running flip over to first base. And Bell is retired. Let's take a look at the defense behind Carpenter tonight. We'll go over to where he threw that. At first base, MVP numbers, Carlos Delgado. As Fran said, some good D2. Homer Bush at second base. The injuries shorten the infield. At third base will be Tony Bautista, regular there, but at short, Craig Graybeck will make the start at short tonight. In the outfield, Shannon Stewart will be in left field. Jose Cruz Jr. in center. Pitch is taken for a ball. And Raul Mondesi in right field with Darren Fletcher again behind the plate. The battery mate for Chris Carpenter.
Last night we were talking about Fonzie batting third as a designated hitter tonight. Talked about how he looked like he might need a rest. I guess this is the American League version of a rest. DH him.
Not bad. It does give you a chance to rejuvenate yourself on the bench and still get at bats. Fonzie has gone 4 for 10 in this series and takes that pitch down low. 2-1 count on it.
I remember when they first came up with the idea for the designated hitter, a lot of players didn't like it because they didn't know what to do between innings when they weren't on the field. Of course, now you can go underneath and take batting practice.
Lots of cages, batting tees, all kinds of places to go to get yourself ready if you're a designated hitter.
You got to swing that bat. You got to go. Now look at where Fonzie's standing, right on the line. The line is part of the batter's box. And you notice in Boston they had a line in the batter's box. But here in Toronto, they don't have that line in that area. They have the line behind Fonzie's feet and also the line, well, his foot's right on the back line right there.
And that one is taken away. So Edgardo Alfonso picks up the walk. He'll head down with one away and Piazza coming up.
So Fonzie walks. So you see the line. Remember in Boston, they kept pointing to that line there, telling Carl Everett, you got to get away from home plate. Well, there's no line in that batter's box here in Toronto.
And still no decision on Carl Everett as the league continues to review the videos and speak with the participants in the affair. Piazza takes a strike on the inside corner. Runner on at first base and 1 down.
Oh, Mike Piazza back behind the plate tonight. Look at those numbers. Talk about MVP numbers. You mentioned Carlos Delgado. What about Mike Piazza?
A little rest success for him in the DH role here. Breaking ball misses down and away. He's second right now in the National League in the RBI department. You see the slugging. He's third behind McGuire and Bonds. Those are the guys at the top 5 of most of the power hitting categories, as you would expect. A very productive offense for him as well. The RBI produced every 3.7 at bats. That's a tremendous number for Piazza, hitting in that cleanup spot. Got a runner at first base here. Delgado holding the bag on Alfonso. Piazza puts that one up to right field, not deep, over near the line. Raul Mondesi there. 2 down.
You know, if you take a close look at Mike Piazza, like Alfonso, he gets on that back line in the batter's box. As we were saying before, the line is considered part of the batter's box. Here's the ball that Piazza hit. You see that back foot? It's on the line. Piazza hitting the ball up in the air to right field. Easy play for his former teammate, Raul Mondesi.
Check the rule book, Fran. I wonder if in the rule book you're required to have a line on the inside part of the batter's box.
Yeah, well,
if the line on the inside part of the batter's box is in some ballparks, why isn't it in others?
I was surprised. You know, in Boston, remember they were pointing to that line with Carl Everett. You know, Gary, when I played in Kansas City, we had a team. Everybody liked to bat way back in the box. And so far, they'd be out of the box. So the leadoff hitter would go up and completely erase the lines back here. Before the game was over, the Royal hitters were back there. I mean, they were digging holes you couldn't believe.
That was common 10 years ago or less, that virtually every game you saw, the first thing a hitter did, the leadoff man coming up, was obliterate all the lines.
And now it's up to the catcher to keep his eye on the feet of the hitter. You know, if the hitter's way back in the batter's box, tell the umpire, get him in the box.
Todd Zeile, strike on the inside corner. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Now, Gary, we talked about the line in Boston. Now look at this line. You see the line here? You don't have it in Toronto. Now, to me, his foot was on the line, and the line is considered part of the batter's box.
You got to be totally out of it.
Yeah. Now, if you hit a ball with 1 foot out of the batter's box and it goes into foul territory, the umpire can call you out. In the rule book, I don't believe they have to draw your attention to get it in the batter's box.
That one is foul back. The rule book says you can't be any closer than 6 inches of the plate. Now, that's troublesome in interpreting, because does that really mean 6 inches of the plate? Like, could you stand behind the plate in front of the catcher? You couldn't do that, but you'd be 6 inches away from the plate with your back foot.
You got to have both feet in the batter's box. I only heard of one time where Henry Aaron, I guess somebody threw a ball and he ran up and hit it, and he had one of his I believe his left foot was out of the batter's box. They called him out. But rarely do you see that enforced.
Only if it's complained about. 3-2, runner going. Strike 3 called, and Zeile thought he had a walk on that one. So Chris Carpenter will get the strikeout, but the Mets will get the lead. Run 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 left on base. A strike. Yes. With us back here in Toronto with the roof open at SkyDome. And the Mets on top early with the 1-0 lead.
The Blue Jays. Who will they send to the plate in the first inning? Well, Shannon Stewart, great speed, leads it off. Craig Graybeck, batting number 2. Raul Mondesi, all kinds of power, batting 3rd. Overshadowed by that guy right there. 3rd in Blue Jays history with 179 home runs, Carlos Delgado. He's followed by the DH, Brad Fulmer, then Tony Batista, Darren Fletcher, Jose Cruz, and then the Homer, Homer Bush.
There is Bobby Jones, 3-4 for the New York Mets, and 1-0 lifetime against Toronto. And Bobby making the start, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a no decision in his last 5 outings for the Mets. And Shannon Stewart stands in. And we are off with a strike for the Mets. Stewart's struggling right now. 2 hits in his last 21 at bats. Nevertheless, you see kind of start that Shannon Stewart had as his numbers continue high. 26 years old, a .288 career hitter. And that one towards right center field and over Bell's head. Yes. One hopper up and off the top of the wall. Stewart's on his way to second base, and he kicks it off with a leadoff double.
Well,
22nd of the year.
In the open, Gary, we were talking about Bobby Jones pitching up in Boston and getting a lot of big strikeouts. He had some giddy up on the ball in Boston. Well, right here, he gets his ball to Shannon Stewart with that open stance. You see the fastball. It's a very good pitch to hit. Shannon Stewart staying. Look at the head right down in that ball. That was a good shot of Shannon Stewart staying on top of the ball. Watch his head. Watching that ball all the way, driving the ball to right center field. And that's a good sign for the Blue Jays and a bad sign for Bobby Jones.
Jones got it in. Grayback down the line. That's going to tie this ball game up. Grayback will head to second base. Bell has trouble picking it up. It'll hold him at second, though. Throw comes in and is cut off at short. 2 hitters, 2 hits and a run. Grayback batting second in the lineup. Picks up the RBI. That'll be for Grayback, his 11th run batted in 36 games.
Oh, Grayback just muscling the ball into right field and picking up a base hit, driving in the tying run here in the first inning. As you look at Bobby Jones's numbers.
High ERA for Bobby. The hits.
Boy, right up there, locating fastball. Got to do it unless you can overpower hitters. And keep in mind, he's got to get that curveball over. But locating that fastball, Shannon Stewart had a good pitch to hit. Grayback muscled the ball into the outfield. This guy's got a lot of muscle here.
Off-speed curveball misses up high. Mondesi up. So Bobby Jones off to a tough start here with the ball game now tied at 1-1. Still nobody out, and a runner on at second base is Grayback, who's got decent speed out there as a base runner. Raul Mondesi hitting .250 with runners in scoring position. Not particularly high for him. Mondesi to short. Hauled in by Lamb. Didn't get all of that one. That was off towards the end of the bat. One away.
Mondesi going out, taking that ball outside, and looping line drive as Lamb makes the grab, going away from the plate, and then he checks the runner at second base. Grayback going back.
Grayback on the bag, and now he's got to face Delgado. Bobby Jones does. There's Lamb playing at shortstop, moving in behind Grayback. They want to try and keep him close here early on. Delgado pull hitter, and the Mets move the infield over to play him as a pull hitter anyway. Carlos Delgado, second best average in the American League. Runners in scoring position. Only Sweeney of KC has a higher average. Sweeney, with runners in scoring position, is hitting over 400. Man, some of these offensive numbers this year. Sweeney at 429, Delgado at 398 with runners in scoring position.
I think Sweeney's a big surprise. Delgado, I don't think you're as surprised because even in the minor leagues, he hit with a lot of power. And when you get into the big leagues, it took him a little while to get it going because he was trying to master the job of catching.
Not anymore.
They said put him on first base.
Mastered the job of hitting. Takes that pitch on the inside corner. 2 ball, 1 strike count with 1 away.
He had 28 home runs at the All-Star break, only 1 short of the Jays record set by George Bell back in '87. And this guy uses the whole field. Last night we saw him pull a home run, hit it very hard to right field.
Very dangerous hitter. Inside.
Well, a couple years ago, Gary, he hit a home run off a bad ball when the Mets were up here playing the Blue Jays. I couldn't believe it. Ball jumps off his bat, jumped over the wall.
It'll do that here tonight, especially with that roof open. And the updraft here. Fights that one off, foul, and Bobby Jones gets it back to a 3-2 count. How about his numbers, Fran? He's got a chance to do something nobody else in the majors has ever done. If he gets 49 home runs this year or more, which he could, he will be the first player in history to increase his home run total by at least 5 home runs in 5 consecutive years. No one's ever done that.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to the people up here in Toronto. They feel he has no ceiling on as far as his offensive talent is concerned. And now they are impressed with his defense. Look at those home runs that Gary's talking about. 25, 30, 38, 44, and right now he's sitting on 30.
Scary. This year, the continued offense. 3-2 delivery to him, and again, he fights off the outside pitch from Bobby Jones.
Well, we talked about the conditioning of the players. Of course, when you look back at Babe Ruth, while late in his career, you didn't see Babe lifting too many weights.
No?
No. He was lifting those hot dogs. But of course, his productive years, the Babe was in good shape.
Babe Ruth increased his home run ratio. Well, let's see, it was about 6 consecutive times he did it starting back in 1918. Fortunately for Bobby Jones, he doesn't have to face him. Babe's not in there tonight. Delgado fouls it off, but that doesn't make this guy any easier to get out. Still a 3-2 count. He's fouled off 3 consecutive pitches here off Bobby Jones.
Back when Babe played, they stopped playing in October, as you look at Brad Fulmer on deck, and they picked up a bat in February. When it ends in October now, these players pick up the weights a week later.
So take 1 week off. Graybeck getting off second base, being held by Lamb, the shortstop behind him. 3-2 again, and he got him. Bobby Jones with a very big strikeout right there. The defense behind Bobby Jones for the Mets tonight looks like this. Around the horn we go. Starting at first base, Todd Zeile, where he usually is. Mick Ewing makes the start at second with Alfonso the DH tonight. Lenny Harris is in at third with Ventura on the DL. David Lamb is at short, getting a start there tonight. The outfield, Benny Agbayani back in left. Jay Payton in center. And around in right field, Derek Bell. Battery mate tonight for Jones. From the DH role back to catching for Mike Piazza. 2 down, runner at second base, and inside to Fulmer.
Talking about lifting weights, we talked last night about the Montreal Expos. They were disappointed that Fulmer was spending more time in the weight room than he was in the batting cage. He's turned into a good hitter, but you know, years ago, Gary, they would tell us, don't lift weights. We don't want you doing this. We don't want you doing that. They didn't even want us swimming.
I remember that.
It's unbelievable.
1-0 pitch, yeah. It's supposed to take too much out of you physically before a ball game and expend too much energy.
That had to be one of those crusty old veterans of Major League Baseball and wanted to spend a little time maybe in the bar. And he said, you know what? They're working. That's not good for you. And they said, it's pretty good policy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Vito Gaston had a good line about that. 2-0 count, 2 down. Foul back. Talking to Cito last night about, he's the hitting coach now, former manager here. Cito said, you know, when I was playing, there wasn't any extra batting practice.
No.
The coaches weren't making enough money to take a cab to the ballpark. We always took the bus. So did all the players.
That's
so
right.
There was no extra BP.
And when you think about it today, the Mets are out here at 12 noon or 1 o'clock taking extra batting practice. Cito Gaston was a good Major League hitter, played with those San Diego Padres.
Just came into spring training, got ready, and then hoped to get you through the season. And foul back. Bobby Jones battling here. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Fulmer, the designated hitter, who's got a 4-game hit streak coming into the ball game tonight, and yet another guy in this lineup with power as Toronto leads the American League in home runs hit and will likely set a new career mark for the Blue Jays in home runs, somewhere around 166.
Well, this guy right here that's got a report on him was he was going to be a doubles hitter, hit some triples, pretty decent speed, not many home runs, but he's got 15 right now.
And he will try and pull the ball. Bobby Jones jammed him. Ooh, almost took his top hand off right there. 2-ball, 2-strike count.
You don't see Bobby jamming too many guys, but as you look at the home run leaders, the team leaders, you see the Blue Jays, Gary mentioned with 157. The Angels got some guys popping that ball. Oakland A's, Indians, and the White Sox.
going to have new records set in so many offensive categories, total numbers, home runs, runs, inside, and ERA numbers, which have absolutely launched themselves out of sight. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Number of pitchers now. If you can get your ERA basically below 4, you're guaranteed a spot in the top 3 of a rotation.
Doesn't affect Randy Johnson.
No.
Or Pedro Martinez.
Go ahead. Keep trying to go on. See, that's the problem. Here's the 3-2 delivery, and fouled off again by Fulmer. You can get on one hand, Johnson's got a 2.01 ERA and Kevin Brown a 2.52. They're the only ones in the National League with an ERA that is under 3, and Pedro Martinez is the only one in the American League. Matt Suzuki is second. Martinez is 1.51. Suzuki is 3.52. A 2 ERA difference between the leader in the American League and the guy who's second. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Bobby Jones has had to throw 21 pitches, but he lets go of that next one. Game is tied at 1-1. Foul back again. They've fought off pitches here in this first inning.
Keep it alive. Make them work. Make them work.
And there's the counter. That clicker Dave Wallace has, keeping track of how many pitches have been thrown. And his eyes tell him how well they're being thrown.
Yeah. Years ago, they really never counted the pitches. It's probably better that they do today, because years ago they put you out there. If you were throwing the ball real well, you'd end up going out there for 15 innings.
Keep on rocking. 3-2 delivery is outside. So Fulmer is able to draw the walk. That'll put runners on at first and second base for Bautista. Not a smile on the face of the Mets pitching coach right now. Game tied at 1 apiece. A run in here in the first inning on the RBI double by Graybeck, who's still at second. And Fulmer's on at first. And Tony Bautista is at the plate. Big numbers in the power department and runs batted in. And Bobby Jones misses up high to him. Ball 1.
Come on, Tony, baby.
Graybeck able to build that lead up at second base. Bautista takes it away. He is 10th in RBIs in the American League and 4th in home runs.
Well, he's played 184 ball games with the Blue Jays, and he has hit over 50 home runs, 53 home runs, and he's driven in 156 runs. Somebody found a secret up here, and we give a lot of credit to Cito Gaston.
And Bobby Jones gets the pop-up. Second base. Nick Ewing. And not a bad performance for all that happened to him, as they pick up a run on 2 hits. He leaves 2 base runners on, and he was able to work his way through the tough part of the order without giving up another run. 1-1. Tickets to see the Mets versus McGuire and the Cards. 1-1. Obviously, it was a place where you could tell someone where that pitch was.
Yeah.
That's important.
I was looking for another word up there, but it didn't appear.
No.
You heard it's right there.
No. It's been directed at me often in my life. 2-ball, 1-strike count. Payton with a 1 for 7 in this series against Toronto.
Well, Jay Payton swinging a hot bat. He doesn't care about tattoos.
Cares about playing. Bobby Valentine was saying before tonight's game, he was asked, anything surprise you about how well Payton is playing? And he said, defensively, the routes he takes in center field, he says he does as good a job of that as anyone he's seen in a long time. Directly off the bat to the ball. He
made a Willie Mays type catch last night, going to right center field, catching the ball over his shoulder.
Done a great job defensively and offensively. Obviously, he's done that. Valentine had an interesting point. He said, I think Payton benefited when he was injured all this last 2 years when he hasn't been able to play, hasn't been able to throw, hasn't been able to hit. What he has been able to do is go shag, go out in the outfield during batting practice and chase down fly balls. And Valentine said, I think what happened to him all that time is he really got in some great practice on getting ball off the bat and taking direct routes to it because it's all he was able to do for 2 years.
We never heard about his defense.
No. 2-2 pitch to him. Good pitch by Carpenter. Chris Carpenter's second strikeout. 1 down.
Nice pitch, nice pitch.
Yeah, Jay Payton certainly is going to fill a big void in center field. Now, there was fooled. You don't see Jay Payton fooled that much because he waits so long on the pitch. You see a Marriott Marquis pitching matchup. Jones and Carpenter.
Brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquis. Bobby Jones has had decent starts of late. Carpenter trying to settle things down.
Curveball similar to Bobby Jones right there. Freezing Agbayani.
Benny Agbayani back in left field tonight. But Chris Carpenter, this year, he has given up the 8th most hits of any pitcher in the league and the most earned runs. More earned runs off him than any other American League pitcher. 1-1 delivery. Breaking ball misses outside.
Well, looking at his stuff, he's got a good fastball, good breaking ball. He challenges the hitters. An example is he's given up so many home runs. You don't give up a lot of home runs if you don't challenge the hitter.
Foul back off the end of the bat again. 2-2.
The Blue Jays feel after Wells, it's pretty much a crapshoot when they put their pitchers out there as to what type of outing they will have. They all throw with good velocity. So on a given night, they can be very effective.
They've used 7 different starters so far this year. That pitch is taken away. Because Joey Hamilton has not been able to go as he is on the DL. Carpenter making 19 starts, but Wells has been the difference. And the Mets didn't have to face him. Good heater. That's as hard as he's thrown, and 3 strikeouts have been in succession to end the first and 2 in the second.
Well, we talk about inconsistency. He's a young right-hander. He's got a good fastball. Look at that. He threw it right by Benny Agbayani. Now, first batter he faced, Jay Payton, he fooled him. Off-speed pitching right there. Fires the fastball by Benny. So he has shown with 2 batters real good stuff. His problem, he's been inconsistent.
Now McEwing. McEwing had a career-high 3 RBI in the ball game last night.
I'll guarantee you Major League scouts love Carpenter's stuff. They love his build. You compare him to David Wells, you look at the body on the big left-hander, and you would take Carpenter. Of course, he's a lot younger. Look at that hook. You saw him throw Payton a changeup, got him way off balance. He struck him out, threw the fastball by Agbayani. And now 0-2 on Joe McEwing.
Only 25 years old, and he just turned 25. 31-30 in his career. And that one to short. Handled easily. Great back.
Good breaking ball.
Good inning. He retires the side in order. Jays coming up in the second in a ball game tied at 1 apiece. Here in Toronto. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Mets may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Mets. That is way up there in the roof, and it gives us some of those shots that you see that go outside the ballpark. Stephanie, is that Stephanie up there? That's combat pay right there.
Oh boy.
You get that job, you get these kind of shots looking out of the ballpark out onto the lake here. All kinds of boating activities. They had the tall ships. Some of the tall ships were in here as well. There is a real off-speed breaking ball. As Fletcher stands in, Cruz and Bush will follow. 1-1 ball game. Aaron Fletcher with power. Takes it inside, and a 2-0 count from Bobby Jones.
Started him off with a curveball, then threw him a slider. Fletcher with a home run in last night's game. Some pretty good numbers right there.
These left-handers continue to kill Bobby Jones into the corner. Fletcher Bell on a hop. Fletcher heading for second base, and he'll go in with a stand-up double. Leadoff man on with a double, as was true in the first inning. Today's quote brought to you by Tri-State Consumer Auto Insurance. Call them right now for your free rate quote.
Bobby Jones says my slow curve has been effective, which has set up my fastball. No doubt about it. Guys have been swinging and missing at my fastballs that I elevate. Great example was at Fenway Park. he elevated him in Fenway Park, really out of the strike zone.
Well, right now he's having them elevated off bats. Runner at second base, nobody out. Fouled off. Now, the left-handed numbers against Bobby Jones are startling and dangerous, and Cruz is another one of these left-handed hitters. See the overall average for him. Left-handers have hit 336 against him, and the right-handers 336 and the left-handers 242. Now, that differential is the third largest in the majors. 6 home runs by the left-handers and 4 by the right-handers. And the pitch is taken down low for a ball. Kind of inexplicable as to why there is such a differentiation.
Well, Jose Cruz has hit 21 home runs this year, 19 of them off right-handers. So this is not a good matchup.
No.
Bobby struggling against left-handers. Cruz at his best when he's batting left-handed.
Jones taking a look at second base. Slow grounder. McEwing's got to go to first, and the runner will move up. Fletcher goes over to third base, one down. Cruz gets the runner up. He'd rather have gotten him in, but if you're going to make it out, make it productive.
You know, recently, in the recent, say, 10, 15 years, the feeling has been in baseball, move the runner along. Well, you have Cruz at the plate. It's nice to move him along if you're going to make an out, but you want a guy like Cruz to drive him in.
Homer Bush batting in the number 9 spot, 1 for 10 in this series. Foul back. Somebody has got to answer this question before the season done. What happened to Homer Bush's batting average? This is a .328 career hitter in 3 years who hit .320 last year with 485 at bats. I mean, a full season of at bats, and he has gone from .320 to Mendoza.
Yeah, you don't want to be around that line.
Yes, unbelievable. Got jammed. Bobby Jones, a good pitch as Bobby stepped over to third base and crossed his body on that one.
Yeah, we've seen Bobby throw that pitch a little bit more often, where he strides towards the right-handed hitter, drops down. And we've seen him in Fenway Park. He threw a fastball from down there and also a breaking ball.
Runner at third base, infield halfway in. 0-2 count on Bush. Man, I mean, he's so far out of it at the plate, it's sad.
That's what a slump will do to you. You'll be over anxious, swing at bad balls, take pitches you should hit. You go back to the dugout thinking about that slump. You see Bobby Jones, now he threw him a fastball before dropping down, then he came back with the breaking ball. It's a slow breaking ball off the plate. It's important, if you're going to drop down, to drop down with both a fastball and a breaking ball. Don't just go with that one pitch like a fastball, because then they can anticipate.
So that leaves the RBI job to Shannon Stewart with 2 down. Leadoff double by Fletcher. He's now at third. And Shannon Stewart, who picked up the double in the first inning, to lead it off and scored. The RBI by Graybeck. Game tied at 1-1. That one hit the center field. Payton, good jump. Will he get there? Over his head, off the top of the wall and behind him. An RBI and 2 doubles on the night for Stewart. 2-1 Jays.
Well, I'm sure Bobby Valentine has to be concerned. Right now, the Blue Jays are not only hitting Bobby Jones, they're hitting him hard, driving in runs. And you watch his pitch from Bobby Jones to Stewart, a breaking ball that stayed up. Stewart hitting that ball a long way. He thought Payton was going to catch that ball. Then he realized he's not going to get to it.
Payton had some problems with that one, just as we get done talking about his defense.
Bobby Jones thought the ball was gone, but he picks it up. He sees Payton as a shot, and you know what? Payton usually catches that ball.
I thought he had a real good chance at it, and he didn't get a glove on it. A 2-1 lead, 4 hits for the Jays, and a big 2-out hit by Shannon Stewart, who gets his 37th RBI, 2 doubles in the game, 23 of them on the year. And here's Graybeck, who had an RBI double in the first inning. That, we've talked about it before, that is the kind of ball for a center fielder that's the most difficult. It was hit right at him. It had no bend right or left. It was right at him. And it looked like Peyton came up a little short because he at first did not break on the ball.
He misjudged that ball. Ball didn't get that far over his head, but as you mentioned, it was more of a line drive, and it is the most difficult for a center fielder, but Peyton usually catches that ball.
Those are the ones you got to haul in. They make a difference in the game. 2-strike count. Veteran Craig Graybeck, 31 years old, 261 career average. Outstanding role player at the major league level. Graybeck has bounced around a number of teams.
White Sox, the Angels.
And always gets playing time.
Yeah. He's a manager's delight. A guy that won't complain. They can move him around different positions. Tonight he's playing shortstop.
And one of those people that always gets down and dirty in games. He's been at the major league level since 1990. And he came up with the White Sox. 2-strike count, runner at second base, 2 down. Graybeck takes it inside. Toronto got 3 runs with 2 outs in last night's game and a losing cause. They started it again tonight. Another run here, 2 down. And the RBI by Stewart. 1-2 delivery. Harris. And that will retire Graybeck. But not before the go-ahead run. RBI double, and Toronto's got a 2-1 lead. Wallace talking with Bobby Jones between innings, and Mets Dream Week has a new lower price, a long weekend format featuring all the fun of living, learning, and playing alongside your Met heroes. You get 5 days, 4 nights, Port St. Lucie, Florida, your own authentic Mets uniform, and you'll play with former greats like Cookie Rojas, Ed Charles, and L. Jackson. Call 800-888-4376 to get on the roster. Mets Dream Week. And Lamb, first ball hitting to left field. Stewart. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 3rd. Lamb getting the start at shortstop. Who would have thought during this season that the Mets would have the infield in a game that they have tonight?
Yeah, really, when you take a look at the infield the Mets have put out there, you're somewhat surprised. You see Lenny Harris at 3rd, Dave Lamb at short, Joe McEwing at second base. You're expecting Todd Zeile at first.
Ray Ordonez gone for the year. Ventura on the DL for a couple of weeks. Harris, hard ground ball. Graybeck.
You know what, Gary? A lot of managers like to put a lineup on the field the way the Mets have their lineup with those infielders tonight, because you're managing more. It means you're making decisions. And if you're a manager, you want to be a respected manager. And to become a respected manager, you have to be a thinker. So Jim Fregosi, I'm sure, the same way as Bobby Valentine.
No.
Well, Bobby wants the infield.
Up the middle, base hit. Bell.
A lot of managers want guys that they can not manipulate, but manage. Sometimes a superstar is difficult to manage. I think Bobby Valentine would rather put decent players out there that play a lot of different positions than a superstar. Although I'll tell you what, he said the best player he's ever managed, Mike Piazza. Talking about a superstar.
Got to have those to win.
You got to like to. You like Alfonso out there.
Edgardo's the DH tonight. I was kidding you about Fregosi, because Jim, believe me, Jim can put the same guys out there.
Yeah. He just wants
for 162 games and never change the lineup.
Yeah.
He'll be the happiest man on earth.
He doesn't want to think.
He doesn't want to manage.
No,
That's managing.
Yeah. Well, of course, the National League, the managers, I guess they have to manage a little bit more because there's no DH. Well, if you're a manager, you want to put out there.
I want 9 guys every day.
So do I. Steady lineup. Just put them out there as long as they're productive.
Yeah.
You don't want to put the same guys out there if they're not productive.
That's right. Well, that's the whole idea. What we were talking about last night with Jim Fregosi. There goes a runner down to second. Wild pitch. Bell Easy break. That one bounced in the dirt by Chris Carpenter, blocked by Fletcher, but too far ahead of him to make a throw. Because he said last night, every time I send Delgado out there, I'm one of the better managers.
That's right. That's exactly right.
He knows.
Give him a good player, put him on the field. You know, you think of Bobby Valentine, you think of a guy like Buck Showalter, same type of manager.
Tony La Russa.
Tony La Russa. Now you have a Jim Fregosi, Larry Dirkner, manager of the year. Put him out there, let him play.
Yep. Almost fell down on that one as Carpenter came off the mound and had his backside facing home plate. Watch this follow through.
You can see that front foot give, and because of it, he lost his control and threw that fastball up and in to Alfonso. Watch him get out of the way. Carpenter going one way and Fonzie going the other.
Rick Reed had that problem last night.
Yes, he did.
Could not get that front foot planted. It was sliding, and that's what happened on that delivery. Overhand fastball right there for a strike on Alfonso. 3 ball, 2 strike count, 2 down. Reed last night non-decision in his start. A couple of times trying to plant that foot. He was doing the same thing like on a ski slope.
Watch Reed last night. You see he loses his footing again. He's not comfortable where that front foot was landing. And we had a shot of Reed after that inning walking off the mound, and he took a quick glance down at his spikes to see if they were the problem. But obviously they're not. He struggled with his footing last night, Carpenter tonight, so it has to be the dirt around the mound.
Well, there's different colored dirt. There's a gray gravel where the front foot comes down that's a different color than the rest of the mound, and it looks like it is very hard packed, as though you're going to do some sliding. It's not loose at all. You don't want it loose, obviously, but it really looks like it's so slick that they've tried to grind it up a little bit and put some loose dirt down there that will catch the pitchers when they land. You see all that gray they put in there right where the front foot comes down, and that mound looks hard as a rock. That dirt.
And pitchers are having trouble with the footing because of that hardness around the dirt area.
3-2. Carpenter will go to the back of the mound as Alfonso stepped out. Runner on at second base. Jays lead it by a score of 2-1. Ricardo Alfonso's looking for the RBI. 3:45 with runners in scoring position. Add another one to it. Base hit center field. Cruz up. Bell coming to the plate. Here's the throw. Cut off by Delgado. And it's a tie game. Edgardo Alfonso comes through with his own 2-out RBI for the Mets. And his 59th run batted in.
Well, Fonzie with the night off as far as defense is concerned. We talked about how he looked tired in last night's ball game. Not tired tonight. Base hit driving in Derek Bell. So once again, Bobby Valentine putting the runner in motion, getting Bell to second base, and then Fonzie hits the ball right back up the middle. Cruz charging, and he makes the throw. Bell scoring easily, ball cut off, and Fonzie had to dive back into first base. Comes around the bag. Homer Bush tried to get in there behind him.
Pitch is taken for a strike. Run department for the New York Mets, dominated by Alfonso with 67, and Bell right behind him now with 65 runs scored. Mike Piazza with 2 down. Piazza flied out his first time up. Take that pitch down and away. Piazza in all the big categories, 351. Ranks him fifth right now in average. Same in home runs. Same in RBIs at 77. Towards short, Graybeck with a force at second. Will take it there to Bush. And that will retire the side. But the Mets add to it. They get a run on a couple of hits with 1 base runner left on. We go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. SkyDome in Toronto tied at 2. The host of the new live sports talk show Thursday nights on Metro. It's called Game Face, and it's the show where diehard fans like you get to mix it up with some of the biggest names in sports. If you want to be a member of the Game Face audience, real simple. All you got to do is send an email to gameface@msgmetro.com or call 877-674-METRO. This week's show will air Thursday night at 10:30. buddy Dave Sims. We wish Dave well with that. That's him out there putting right now.
It's a great show, Dave Sims.
It's his 9th putt, by the way. It's going to take 10. It's okay, Dave. Stay with it.
Fans are involved in that show. They're not going to talk to Dave about his golf.
He won't let him. Fouled off by Raul Mondesi. 2-3-0 for New York, 2-4-0 for the Jays. New York comes in, trailing Atlanta by 5, picking up a game on the Braves yesterday, and Toronto's a half game behind the Yankees. Red Sox are now just 1 game up. Atlanta got an early 2-0 lead against Tampa Bay in their ball game tonight. Speaking of Atlanta, by the way, the rotation right now is going to look like this for the Atlanta series. First game, it'll be Millwood against Leiter. Terry Mulholland will work against Rick Reed in game 2 on Saturday, and the Sunday night game will have Mike Maddox. No, it won't. Greg Maddox against Bobby Jones. Mike's not going to be there for the start.
Isn't Mike a pitching coach now?
Yes. Mondesi with a towering fly ball. Benny Agbayani. That's the longest he's looked at the sky since he left Hawaii.
Yeah, that's a major league pop-up right there.
1 down.
Well, the Mets have to pick up 1 or 2 more games on those Braves before they go into Atlanta. Should be quite a series down there in Atlanta. 3-game series starting Friday night. But the Mets play here tonight, then off to Montreal to take on the Expos.
Vive la différence. No idea what that means, but I heard that once in a movie. 1 down.
I thought it was a revolution. We were taking over.
No, not Vive la France. Vive la différence. Obama has Vive la France.
Viva Zapata's here. It's a great movie.
Carlos Delgado struck out his first time up. Bobby Jones with 2 Ks and 1 walk so far in the game. They have a great Picasso and Renoir exhibition going on at the Art Museum in Montreal.
You told me those 2 guys were greatly overrated.
Played good D. Couldn't hit.
A double play combination. Didn't one of those guys take his ear off just to show his love? Who was that? Van Gogh?
Very, very strong.
Well, Van Gogh, he had to be to take that ear off.
2-1 delivery. He painted a picture about you once called Starry, Starry Night.
He was confused. How about when he sent that ear over to the woman saying, here,
No, that was Dave Kingman. Sent it up to the press box.
Oh, boy. It wasn't an ear.
No, it wasn't. 3-1 delivery. Man, a big cut on a breaking ball down and in.
Yeah, just for Dave Kingman, one time sent a rodent.
Yes.
To the
non-live one.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's not good.
Didn't like a story someone had written, so he put a rodent in a box and sent it upstairs. Wrapped. Pitch taken up high. Carlos Delgado gets the walk. That'll be the second free pass surrendered by Bobby Jones. Delgado continues to pile up, as you would expect, a lot of free passes this season. He has 74. Jason Giambi of Oakland, 81 starting the day. Number 1 in the league in walks.
Well, you got a 300 hitter following Delgado, but if you don't have to pitch to him, don't. Especially the way Bobby Jones has been struggling against left-handers, but now he's got a left-hander in Brad Fulmer.
Fulmer with that runner at first base. He walked his first time up. Extended his hit streak to 4 games last night and takes the pitch inside for a ball. Both of these pitchers have had their problems at times this year. And there was every evidence this game had the potential, off the starters at least, to have some runs generated. And it's starting that way, 2-2. Quick step off by Bobby Jones. Toronto has had a home run at least 1 in 16 consecutive home games. This ball club, fly ball hitters in this yard that produce some homers. Rip foul outside of first. 1-1 on Brad Fulmer, the designated hitter.
Well, Bobby Jones working in a very deliberate fashion tonight.
Delgado at first base with Zeal on the bag. Quick throw over will get him back. Even with the left-handed hitter Fulmer up, Zeal staying on the bag on Delgado. Delgado's looking like, throw the ball to the plate. Leave me alone. He does not have a stolen base. And the off-speed delivery is way outside again. 2-ball, 1-strike count. Lot more off-speed pitches being thrown by Bobby Jones this game than in the last one.
He had better velocity at Fenway Park. He doesn't have that same velocity here tonight, and he is mixing in a curveball. In Fenway Park, he had good control of the overhand curveball also. Boy, he's off tonight.
3-1. He's trying to tune it by the looks of things without having that good fastball. And Dave Wallace doing his impersonation of Leo Mazzoni.
You know, Bobby Jones worked a lot quicker at Fenway Park.
Much. 3-1 count. Again, Delgado back.
You tend to put your teammates to sleep if you work slowly. Ray Miller, pitching coach with the Pittsburgh Pirates a few years back, manager of the Orioles, and a highly respected pitching coach that work rapidly and throw strikes.
Inside, fouled it off. 3-ball, 2-strike count on Fulmer. Fulmer 2 for 12 against Bobby Jones in his career. Had to close the roof last night when the rains came, and it rained hard on the third inning of the ball game. Tonight clouding up again outside, but the roof was fully open, at least to start.
Well, Bobby Jones facing a hot hitter. He's batting well over 300, 333 in his last 15 games, Brad Fulmer.
Runner goes. Zeal off the bag, no play. So the sending in motion of Delgado prevents any chance of the double play. Fulmer retired. 2 down, runner at second base.
Well, we saw Bobby Valentine put a runner in motion earlier in his ball game. In fact, it was last inning. Derek Bell, he came around to score. So Jim Fregosi putting Delgado in motion and staying out of a double play.
See if Bobby Jones can get an important third out here. Last 2 games have produced a number of 2-out hits. See how that wind is whipping around here tonight with the top open. And Bautista takes a strike on the outside corner. He popped out his first time up. 287 average. Delgado on at second base, being held by McEwing. Tony Bautista played to pull outfield. Peyton swung around towards left. Bautista rips it into center field for a base hit. Here comes Delgado. Peyton can't find the handle. And the Jays are back on top 3-2. Peyton trying to rush it. Thought he might have a play on Delgado.
Well, in the top of the third, Derek Bell was on first base. He ended up advancing to second base. Edgardo Alfonso hit a line drive into center field, driving in Bell. So here in the bottom of the third, the Expos liked what they saw. I should say the Blue Jays, and Bautista hit the ball up the middle, driving in Carlos Delgado. Jay Peyton having trouble finding the handle and then getting the ball into second base. So the Blue Jays have taken the lead again, 3-2.
Fletcher doubled. See Peyton, he was trying to watch the ball and the runner to see if he was going to have a play. And that pitch is taken inside for a ball. Fletcher with a double and scored in the second inning. So 3 runs, 2 of them coming with 2 down for the Blue Jays on 2-out hits. 1-0 count. Jones will make the throw over. Not a big lead for Bautista at first base. Almost standing on the bag. Bautista's got 3 stolen bases, 6 chances. The no lead over there. And jammed him just enough to get the fly ball to right. Bell. And that'll do that. But a run in. On 1 hit, it was the walk to Delgado. And then sending him when they couldn't get a double play. The 2-out single by Bautista. question.
You are a professional.
But at what I keep asking you. Who is the only Blue Jay to throw a no-hitter in Blue Jay franchise history? Our Aflac trivia question.
Good question. Give us that Aflac one more time.
Aflac.
You like the commercial.
I'm the voice of the duck. Didn't you know that?
You sound good.
Residuals. I love them. Todd Zeal will lead it off against Chris Carpenter with a 3-2 lead for the Jays. Zeal, a strikeout victim, called out. 3-5-0 now for Toronto. 2-3-0 for the Mets. Yardo Alfonso and Harris with a home run, the RBIs for New York. Chris Carpenter misses with that one up high. The way this is going, we are going to get into the bullpens deep and early again in this game, because a lot of pitches are being thrown by both starters. 2-0 delivery, and misses outside in a 3-0 count.
Now, years ago, I remember talking to Whitey Ford. He said when he tried to do first pitches, throw the ball over the plate, throw a strike, let them hit it someplace.
Missed on all 4 of those. So Carpenter surrendered his second walk, and it is a leadoff walk here in the 4th inning. We'll see if the stats hold up. Over 70% of the time, a leadoff walk in an inning results in at least 1 run being scored. So take that, Chris Carpenter, and see if you can be on the 30% side of it, I guess.
I'm sure the pitching coaches talk to the pitchers in spring training, and they tell them about that stat.
Carpenter was throwing.
Yeah, he was getting ahead of the hitters. In fact, as far as first pitch strikes, he threw for the first 13 batters, strikes to the first 10 out of 13, and he walked Todd Zeal. Now he's facing Jay Payton. He throws him a strike.
Payton was a strikeout victim. 3 in a row were set down on strikes. Zeal, Payton, and Agbayani. Pretty good lead at first. Runner not going. Hard line shot. Base hit over Graybeck's head. Cruz in center. Back into second base, trying to throw behind the runner, but Zeal made a short turn there. And Payton is on with a base hit. So the Mets have the first 2 on here in the 4th inning against Chris Carpenter. And the Mets now with 4 hits in the game. Pitching coaches tonight may have a lot of heartburn. The way this one is starting. Rick Langford, pitching coach for Toronto, and Dave Wallace for the Mets. Benny Agbayani struck out his first time up, 2 on and nobody out. Infield at double play depth. Outfield straight away. Agbayani in the dirt. Stop made by Fletcher. Benny 2 for 6 in this series as he moved back into left field for tonight's game. What a break last night as Bobby Valentine trying to rest, obviously, on different nights, some of the regulars. Last 22 starts, he's hit .351. He has really produced, given the opportunity to start. He and Jay Payton both responded to their opportunities.
If and when Darrell Hamilton comes back, what do you do?
It's been an ongoing question, but you know, the question is Darrell Hamilton coming back?
That's right, but and you can't take that guy out of the lineup. Jay Payton and Benny Agbayani has been productive as Darrell Hamilton had the operation on his foot.
I saw a story where Hamilton apparently has gone back to Houston to rehab, and the Mets apparently did not want him to. They wanted him to rehab with a team. But he went back to Houston.
How about Darrell Hamilton? We didn't talk about that. The story breaking the other day, Darrell flying on the same plane with Roger Clemens. Well, I guess it was Roger Clemens' plane back to Houston.
Agbayani takes it on the inside corner, 3-1. That was after the Piazza incident with Clemens.
You know, it sounds trite, but under the circumstances, it's pretty sensitive. I mean, you're going on a plane and your teammate, the guy leading your ball club, just got hit in the head with a fastball.
He walked him and the bases are loaded. Third walk given up by Carpenter. 3 up, 3 on here in the 4th inning.
Rick Langford coming out of that dugout in a hurry. That'll drive a pitching coach out of his mind. A kid who's 6'6" with a good fastball and a good breaking ball. Here in the 4th inning with a lead, he walks Todd Zeal. Jay Payton picks up a base hit. Then he walks Benny Agbayani.
Carpenter has struggled here at home. His record here in the Dome is 2-5, and his earned run average is a walloping 8.27 here at home. You wonder if those kind of numbers may make you a little frightened to throw strikes when you're out there. Your ERA is over 8.
But it's amazing. You know, Gary, over the years, you see guys, I would catch them. You catch guys in the minor leagues, they have great stuff. You figure, how does he not win? And then you catch a guy with mediocre stuff, and he's a winner. And there's no reason or rhyme to it. And it frustrates pitching coaches and managers when you have a guy with good stuff, and you can't help him.
He's got to help himself right here. There, see that differential he has. The queuing up. Slow grounder. Will they come home with it? Nope. One relay to first is not in time. It will be an RBI for McEwing to tie the game up at 3. Rather than come home to try and get Zeal, a slow runner, Graybeck went to Bush, who did not have a chance to make a good pivot and try for 2.
And as you mentioned, ball wasn't hit hard enough to turn double play. And Zeal breaking off third base. Doesn't have real good speed. Would they had a shot at the plate? They might have had a shot at forcing him at the plate. But Graybeck decided that his only move was to go for double play. McEwing struggling coming out of the box, but then he got it together. He's got good speed.
Well, I was surprised Graybeck did not come home on that. 1 down.
You know, it's funny. Unless the infield is on, and when you're on a natural surface, it's easier to tell. Unless they're really in or on the artificial turf, for some reason, infielders will go for the double play. But the ball gets to you in enough time with Zeal on third base. There was a force play at home.
Yeah, that's the key. It was a forced play.
And you got to know the speed. You've got to know the speed of the base runners. Now, you see Graybeck with the ball in his hand right there. Get the ball in his hand. Look where Zeal is. You don't even see the dirt area around home plate. Certainly had a shot at home plate, but took the safe way out.
With the runner going at first, that one is fouled off down the line.
Last year, I was talking to John Olerud about Ventura, Ordonez, and Alfonso. And one of the things he said that made them very good, he said they weren't afraid to take a chance. For example, that ball hit the shortstop, Ordonez would have tried at the plate. You don't get him, you don't get him. But Olerud, and then Olerud said the reason he felt they were a step ahead of him defensively, he said, I'm not a gambler. I'll go for the safe out. Although we saw a very good defensive first baseman with John Olerud.
Graybeck, a veteran, pretty good at making decisions out there, but that one you got to wonder about. Now Payton's over there at third base. Queuing at first, and Lamb with a 1-1 count. Runner goes. They're going to throw through. Fletcher's got him. He's out of there. And Payton could not advance home. Good throw by Fletcher, who's thrown out only 26 of the base stealers against him this year, but that was right there.
Yeah, that was a good, strong, quick throw by Fletcher to second base, and Jay Payton held his ground at third. You're taught as a catcher, when you come out of the chute, you got to look at third. Now, you see McEwing jump off first, Fletcher coming out of the chute, and this is a good throw. And a good tag by Graybeck. McEwing not getting to the base.
Right field, shallow. Hauled in by Mondesi, and Lamb's retired. So, could have been a lot worse for Carpenter as they get 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 base runner left on, and the caught stealing throw by Fletcher helped Carpenter out of the inning. 3-3. Fletcher threw with a runner at third and 1 away. Jay Payton at third. Why did he not break when Fletcher threw?
Well, a lot of times you're not expecting the catcher to throw today. Here's the throw to second base. Now, Fletcher, you're taught as a catcher to look the runner back to third. Fletcher didn't do it. And I'll tell you, as a catcher, I didn't like looking the runner back. Now, let's see Payton. Payton broke back to third base. If he breaks, now, if he anticipates the ball being thrown through, he immediately breaks when the catcher releases the ball. You don't throw him out at home plate. Fletcher didn't look at Payton. Payton was assuming Fletcher wasn't going to throw through, because a lot of teams today don't throw through with runners on first and third.
It's one of the plays that you were taught in Little League that is hardly ever seen anymore, is that cutoff.
Yeah, you
With
never
the shortstop
see it. Yeah, never
cuts
see
in
it.
front.
Yeah, that's interesting. You never see that play. It's become completely obsolete.
Yeah.
Now, usually, how about the one where you used to fire it back to the pitcher?
Yeah.
Well, you could do some damage.
Oh,
trust me.
take their heads off.
You throw
especially if they turned around.
Oh, you better make sure the pitcher knows it's coming. You never see that play anymore.
Never see that anymore. And that's one of the reasons. I mean, without that play, you either throw through or you don't.
That's right.
With the play, you got a chance at having something a little different. But I don't even think that isn't even worked on in spring training or anything anymore.
No, it's either you're going to throw it to second base, and if the runner breaks, it's up to the shortstop or the second baseman to cut it off. Remember, the shortstop used to go over to make the catch at second base.
Ripped in the gap. Cruz. He'll head for second base. Bell up with it. Thinking about 3, but he'll stop right there in the relay throw. Another leadoff double. In 3 of the 4 innings, the Jays have had a leadoff double against Bobby Jones.
Well, Dave Wallace has to be concerned at what he's seeing right now from Bobby Jones. And the Mets in the rubber game of this 3-game series, and this ball's hit hard by Cruz into right center field, picking up a double. Jones just threw his 63rd pitch, and Cruz picks up a double as he hustles into second base.
Giving themselves chances to score. We lead off games with doubles. He's got 19 two-baggers on the year. Infield in at first and third, believing Bush is going to try and bunt. He does. Foul. Homer Bush will have to come back, trying to move that runner up to third base. Cruz back to the bag. Well, Bobby Jones working with base runners on, which has been a problem for Bobby Jones, not only this year, but last year. His effort to increase his quickness to the plate has resulted in some pretty high averages when there have been runners on. He's got one on again here. He's had to work that way throughout this ball game. Looking for the bunt again. Bush not going to do it. Wishes he had now. Ewing. So Bush fails to get the job done. He does not get that runner moved up.
Yeah, now I'm sure Jim Fregosi told him to take a shot to the right side and move the runner along. Homer Bush, as we mentioned earlier in the telecast, has really been struggling with that average. Hit over 300 last year, and he's bordering now in the low 200s. And you figure, you know what, if you can't do it swinging the bat and you're struggling, you got to bunt him over.
Got to get that down.
Yeah.
But he didn't. Now Shannon Stewart. Stewart had gone 3 games without a hit coming into tonight. His longest game streak without a hit. He took care of that with a double in the first, added another double and an RBI in the second inning. Runner at second here, 3-3 ball game. Jones with a turnaround look. Nobody there to cover. Stewart will try and get him home. Blue Jays team 3rd in runs in the American League and 1st in homers. Rubber match of this 3-game set. Breaking ball. That misses. Ball 1.
Well, we talk about getting ahead of the hitter, so Bobby Jones throwing that hook and missing. So now Shannon Stewart pretty much can sit on the fastball. Seems when Bobby misses with the curveball, he's reluctant to throw back-to-back over the top curveball. See if he comes back.
1-0 fastball.
Yeah.
1-1.
And one of the reasons, or probably the only reason, is when you are struggling mechanically with the over-the-top curveball, it's difficult to gain your mechanics. Here he throws the fastball to, or he took something off the fastball to Shannon Stewart and got him out in front. But he stayed away from the over-the-top curveball.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Cruz on at second. Jones taking a long time. The outs are going through the signs with the base runner on here. And again, another turn back to second base. These are the things that we talk about slowing games down. Boy, these are the things that do it, and virtually all managers do it now. You never did before. It was up to the pitcher to hold the runner. Now you get the signs coming from the dugout and what they want him to do. Step off, turn, throw, don't throw.
Come on, Chavez.
And when runners are on, the game crawls. There's that off-speed breaking ball again, and it misses up high. 2 ball, 1 strike count.
Not only does it come from the dugout, but a guy like Bobby Jones could do it himself. He could step off, check a runner. But usually the signs come from the dugout. Even the slide step. When to employ the slide step comes from the dugout.
I don't think he likes the calls he's getting from the home plate umpire, Terry Kraft, on that breaking ball. That last pitch, he looked in a long time at Kraft. Kraft, I don't think, has called a strike on any of those off-speed breaking balls. 2-1 delivery, and it misses outside as he dropped down on that one.
When you look at the curveball, the over-the-top curveball Bobby Jones throws, a good curveball usually ends up a low. Now that's a big hook. Now that's a good strike. That's not low. Could have been high.
Look at him look in. Look.
Yeah.
Kraft was not looking at him. Hit hard. Knocked down. Lamb's throw. Got him.
Well, Bobby Jones dropping down and getting Stewart to hit the ball on the ground. Hit the ball hard on the ground, but Lamb was there. Watch Bobby drop down and threw the ball over the heart of the plate. You get some pretty good ball movement. If you grip it a certain way and drop down, you get that ball to sink. Lamb gloving the ball. Easy play. Once you glove it to flip to first, they get Stewart. So now there's a runner on third base. And you keep in mind that over-the-top curveball, the real good over-the-top curveball usually goes through the strike zone and then out of the strike zone low. So you have to be very careful. If you're catching a curveball pitcher in a situation like this, you have to think in the dirt.
Piazza went out to talk to Bobby Jones now as they face Graybeck. And I'm just guessing on this, but I got a feeling it's about using that overhand curveball. The fact home plate umpire's not going to call it a strike. And now they want to pitch here. They start with a fastball in the inside corner. This has been a series where the umpires and players have had their set-tos in all 3 games, including an umpire who was replaced in the ball game last night who had a bad game. Nell Leiter's start. Didn't even make it through the series. Now, whether he's on a vacation again, we don't know. We have not been able to get an answer on that, but he was replaced after he had a set-to. And then last night, Tim McClelland had a set-to with 2 players, including Billy Koch, who was coming out of the game, and he approached Koch and said something to him, and Koch had to step in between them, as it looked like McClelland thought he was being shown up. There's some antagonism developing again, not just in this series, but between players and umpires. It's not working well right now.
Yeah, as far as the umpires are concerned, they pretty much have become antagonistic over the years.
And I just think it's happening again. It seems to me it's starting all over.
I think, Gary, it's how they adjust to a player's temper. And players got to be respectful, too. But umpires got to understand, people come to the ballpark to see the players. You don't want to be throwing them out of the game.
2 ball, 2 strike count. I mean, last night, Koch didn't get a call earlier on in this inning. And he looked in. McClelland's behind the plate.
Something.
Koch, Koch is like, oh,
it's
man.
Body language.
Yeah.
But who cares about the
now
body
look at the
language?
hands on hips. And then he gets the out.
He had forgotten about the other thing.
And then he's walking off at the end of the inning. And here comes McClelland and says something. And Delgado had to step in, and then Terry Bevington, the third base coach. And then
you would have watched closely to pick up the body language. So McClelland probably overreacting. But I mean, Koch is their best relief pitcher. You're going to throw him out of the game? He eventually came out of the game, but Koch was on his way to the dugout.
3 ball, 2 strike count. Runner at third. Graybeck, right field. Bell. And Bobby Jones works his way out of it again. So despite a lead-off double, no runs, a base hit, and a runner left on, there's been at least 1 left on in the first 4 innings by the Jays. Only 1 inning without a runner by the Mets. Everybody, SkyDome in Toronto. Our Aflac trivia question: who is the only Blue Jay to throw a no-hitter in franchise history?
The answer is, he tried to come back last year.
Dave Steve, final out, no-hitter. Brad Borders, his battery mate. 1990, September 2. Our Aflac trivia question, and the answer, Dave Steve. There you see.
Mets.
Recognition of that right there.
How about the Mets? Unbelievable.
Never.
And if you played this game, the one thing you thought about when you played the Mets, great pitching. I played against the Williamsport team in the 60s. They had an unbelievable staff, and the Mets organization has yet to score a no-hitter.
Seaver, Koosman, Ryan.
They want to. Gooden. I mean,
Madlock.
let me tell you something. In Williamsport, they had Ryan, Jim McAndrew. They got Jerry Johnson. They had Bob Johnson. They had a guy named Schmeltz who threw as hard as anybody. When you played against the Mets organization in Williamsport, Pennsylvania in the mid-60s, you knew there was an offer in your future.
No offer for you, Francis Xavier Healy.
Oh, believe me, there were a lot of offers.
You're on.
Oh, it was almost an offer. Derek Bell batting .305, the batter. In fact, back on that team, Nolan Ryan struck out 21 of members of my team. Bell 1 for 2. They check Harris at first base.
Now, do I understand you and Nolan Ryan had a little incident?
Well, there were a lot of guys involved. It was one of the great baseball fights I've ever been. Dave Kingman, we mentioned him earlier. Oh, what a job he did. There goes Harris to throw to second. Not in time. So Lenny Harris head first slide into second base. And the Mets have a runner in scoring position. We're all tied at 3 here in the top of the 5th. It happened. In fact, Nolan Ryan had an opportunity to interview him for a Halls of Fame show recently. We talked about it.
Short hop on that one. No chance to get him wide. It'll bounce. Good jump, Lenny Harris. A couple of stolen bases last night, another tonight.
In this fight, it was in spring training, the Giants against the Angels. Willie McCovey get hit by a pitch from Nolan Ryan. He was not happy. Then Willie Mays got hit. And then I was the next batter. Tony La Russa tells me the story goes that I went up to the plate screaming at Nolan Ryan. And the next pitch in the ribs. I can tell you right now, I get hit in the ribs, but there was no screaming. I wasn't crazy.
You probably were so scared you couldn't
Oh,
talk.
couldn't breathe. In fact, Mel Queen, who's with the Blue Jays in their front office, he last year was talking to me about it. He said he remembered me hanging over the plate. That's not true either. I was bailing. I wasn't hanging at Nolan Ryan. It's amazing how these stories get blown out of proportion. Swung on and missed by Derek Bell. But then the next day, there was a fight. I'll never forget. Dave Kingman had poor Johnny Roseburn a headlock. And Nolan Ryan told me this one, I didn't know about it. He said when he released him, he was so strong that Johnny Roseburn was walking aimlessly in the outfield. He was a third base coach. They had to go get him out of the outfield. What a fight that was. But anyways, Nolan won, as usual. Not a good swing by Derek Bell. So it's now 2-2. We're talking about Lenny Harris is screaming.
He's looking over at towards third base.
He's not a happy camper
No,
out there
not,
in second.
I mean, he's been running here on Fletcher in these games. Hard to believe anybody in Toronto would be saying it.
Fly ball down the right field line. Did Mondesi catch it? Well, somebody's got it. And here comes Harris all the way around. Fan interference. Is it fan interference? Yep. So Lenny Harris tagging up at second base, coming all the way around. He'll have to go back out, I guess, to second base. He won't even go to third.
And Jim Fragosi's on his way down to talk with Phil Cousy, the first base umpire, who ran down the line.
They let him score? No.
No.
Harris got to go back out. They might give him third. In the judgment of the umpire, would Harris move?
Look at this. The fan's got the ball and puts it in the glove. Turn it over, roll it out.
But it's fan interference.
Into the glove of Mondesi.
Mondesi has the right of way,
I got
by
it.
the way. He has the right of way.
Harris, wisely tagged up, kept on coming. Now, the fan can be thrown out of the ballpark for interfering with play. Now, Harris has got something wrong with his hand. Apparently on that stolen base, he got stepped on or jammed it on that left hand. Lenny Harris. And he's got to go back out, and he's trying to get his hand taken care of while the umpires figure out where he is.
Yeah, the umpire can rule that Harris on that fly. Look at Bobby Valentine saying it on the fly ball. He's got to go to third. If the ball's caught, he was tagging up. So on the umpires, yeah, Bobby's getting his point across, and Harris will go to third, but he won't score.
Take a look at how he hurt his hand, which he's still having attended to over there. In the slide into second base on the stolen base, put that hand right under the bag.
Stepped on him.
Stepped on him right there, Graybeck. Yeah, Graybeck stepped on his hand and pinned it to the bag. Hey, ow. So he got that taped up.
Where's he going? He's going out to second base.
He's going to second, and Bobby Valentine.
It's a foul ball.
It was a foul ball.
Not caught.
Bell's at bat will stay alive here. And so Harris, through all of that, got his hand fixed. Is he hollering at Graybeck? I think he is, and it wasn't a pleasant comment.
As Bell takes up high, now it's 3-2 on Derek Bell. Harris looked like he was screaming at Graybeck about him stepping on his fingers. Breaking ball, 3-2, misses. Bell walks. Now the fan's getting thrown out of the ball game. Now he's a Yankee fan.
Well, that's why he's getting booed. It had nothing to do with him interfering with the ball. He's got a Yankee hat.
That's right.
That's why he's getting thrown out.
I said, okay, let's get him out of here.
Let's get him out of here. Well, we told you that can happen. See, this fan reached over and interfered with play, and then tried to roll the ball into Raul Mondesi's glove.
To get an assist. Whoop.
You only get an assist in hockey. You don't get one here on that. Well, that's 5 walks given up in the ball game now by Chris Carpenter.
A poor pitch selection right there, throwing that curveball 3-2. So now they got a pitch to Alfonso with runners on first and second. Lenny Harris going over to talk to Cookie. The old head first slide.
Cookie can do a lot of things in baseball to help players, but I don't think one of them is on healing a hand.
No, that's not in the resume.
That Cookie just standing there. Does what he does best, listens.
So Harris will make his way back to second base. The Mets have runners on first and second with nobody out. We are in the top of the 5th inning here in Blue Jay country. Toronto Blue Jays. They used to be the Philadelphia Blue Jays. The Phillies try to change their nickname from the Phillies to the Blue Jays. Back in the 40s, they did it for 2 years, and then they went back to the Phillies. Up high to Alfonso, who's walked and singled in this game. Philadelphia Blue Jays. Doesn't sound good, does it?
Carpenter's walked as many as 8 in a game. He walked 8 in the second start of the year against Anaheim.
Look at those pitches. 82. We're in the 5th. Alfonso takes up high, so it's 2 balls, no strikes on Edgardo Alfonso. Nobody out. We're inside the open dome.
Carpenter looks like he's just lost it.
He has certainly lost that strike zone. Just playing catch right now with his catcher, Darren Fletcher. Here's a 3-0 pitch. There's a strike. There's nothing a catcher can do to help the pitcher when he's lost his control. We'd like to think there is. There's nothing. Give him a shoulder to cry on.
Later.
That's right. There's a 3-1 pitch. Ball 4, bases loaded with Mets. And that'll bring up the big bopper, Mike Piazza. Jim Fregosi says, why me?
Doesn't want to have to go to the bullpen early again. See this motioner. He's really all over the place with it. Follow through. He does not settle down on the follow through even. He's got the look of a pitcher who's just come and get me. Stalea was just called up today.
Well,
looks like he's going to get a chance.
Mike Piazza takes the breaking ball off the plate, ball one. We're all tied at 3. It's a rubber game between the Mets and the Blue Jays. Two contending teams, the Mets in the East in the NL, the Blue Jays fighting those Yanks in the East of the AL. Piazza 0 for 2 in his ball game. Fly to right, reach on a fielder's choice. Takes up high. 2 balls and no strikes. Here's a situation where Jim Fregosi has a young pitcher that he's going to have to count on. He'd like to see him get his rhythm. I mean, his release point is all over the place. I mentioned how a catcher cannot help a pitcher right now. Another pitcher could talk to him about his mechanics, or a pitching coach. There's a strike. Piazza taken all the way, so it's 2-1 on the Met catcher, who's batting .385 with the bases loaded. And they got him loaded with Harris, Bell, and Fonzie. Zeal on deck. And there's the drive. Way back. Look up. Gone. Grand slam. Mike Piazza. Nobody does it better. How about that? Over the pizza sign.
Perfect. A Piazza home run into the pizza zone. And no question, Carpenter was toast before that grand slam home run. And Mike Piazza puts the Mets on top 7-3, 28th home run of the season. And his 3rd grand slam this year, the 12th of his career.
And this call, as you look at Piazza go deep, a grand slam. And this call to the bullpen has been brought to you by AT&T. Get local and long distance together by calling 1-800-ATT-4-ALL.
Mike Piazza with a blast, and the Mets continue to pound out the grand slams. And man, did he get that one. That was in the wheelhouse, middle of the plate. Even Carpenter had to turn around and watch that one go. 3rd of the season, 12th of his career, 7th grand slam of the season for the New York Mets into the pizza zone.
That's a great shot.
That is, isn't it? Pizza, pizza.
So Mike Piazza over the pizza sign. We'll take a look at our Jeep game summary.
Harris with the leadoff homer, his 2nd. Grayback and Stewart of Toronto with RBI doubles. Alfonso an RBI single. And now Mike Piazza with the grand slam here in the 5th. And Carpenter's gone.
And Zeal's the batter. Leo Estrella is the pitcher. Zeal in his ball game struck out in the 1st, walked in the 4th. Last fastball 92 miles an hour, and that pitch right there now 1-1, and it's timed at 86 miles per hour. 7-3, the Mets on top of the Blue Jays. A blooper in the center field, a base hit off the bat of Todd Zeal. So Zeal picking up his 1st hit of the ball game, raising that .302 average couple points. That's the story. Piazza. Long grand slam. Story in this inning is Mike Piazza and a Yankee fan getting in the way of Raul Mondesi.
For Estrella, this is a major league debut for Estrella. First time that he has appeared at the major league level. He is from Puerto Rico, now lives in Port St. Lucie, 25 years old.
Jay Payton, who struck out and singled in his ball game, is the batter. Payton batting .293 with 9 home runs, 29 RBIs, slugging percentage of .463. All of his numbers have been on the rise. He gets severely jammed, and Bush goes to second. They get Zeal with the force at second base. So fielder's choice, and Jay Payton's on first.
Leo Estrella, the call-up, was originally with the New York Mets. He signed as a non-drafted free agent in '93 and then traded to the Jays for Tony Phillips in '98. With the Mets, he got to the Sally League in '98. That was as high as he ever went. He's been playing AA ball until this year. He started at AA this season at Tennessee, 5-5 as a starter. Went to Syracuse and recalled today, making his first major league appearance here tonight.
He'll face Benny Agbayani with one man down here in the 5th inning. Agbayani struck out and walked, and he takes a ball. The runner on first base, Jake Payton, the Mets with a 4-run lead. The rubber game of this 3-game series. Then tomorrow night, the Mets go at it with the Expos. So we'll be coming to you from the Big O in Montreal. They check Payton at first base. It'll be a 2-game series in Montreal. Afternoon game concludes the series on Thursday. Then off to Atlanta. The Mets and the Braves Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Payton back, being held on by Delgado.
See the problems that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to have to deal with here as the second half continues. So this pitching staff has entirely relied on David Wells, as we mentioned. Wells with that 15-3 mark. The other starters are 3 games below 500 combined. Not good.
There goes Payton. The throw. No, they got him. Well, we're going to have to take a look at that baby again. Payton doesn't think he was out. Second base umpire Bill Pussy.
Fletcher up with it in a hurry, on the money, and he was safe.
Yeah, but there's nothing. This is frustrating for a base runner. And Payton is trying to get confidence in stealing bases. He's got the speed of a guy who can steal 50 bases. And the Mets want him to run.
Was the ball there ahead of it, so you got to get him out?
Safe. Tagged him too high.
Yep. Close play. I mean, the umpire doesn't get to see the replays.
That's right.
I mean, you always have to remember that. It's a lot easier, and we even have to look at 2 or 3 sometimes to know.
And the tag at second base, it used to be guys would just take that glove and it would be a sweep tag. Now it's one of those quick bang bang tags. Get the glove down, bring it up. It makes it look a lot closer than it is when you have a quick tag.
Trying not to get spiked down there when they put the tag on.
Agbayani with a bouncer. Batista gets handcuffed. We'll see how they scored. Probably a base hit. Agbayani with good speed. Base hit.
Chopper, by the time he got to Batista, had all but died. And you could tell he was going to get caught in the middle on this. He wanted to get it on the top before Benny Agbayani. There's 1 right in front of home plate. 2, he wants it there, can't get it. And instead it comes right up into the midsection on him, and he ended up having to backhand it. That ball has some spin on it too.
So Agbayani on first base. And the batter now, Joe McEwing. 0-for-2, he lined out and reached on a fielder's choice. So fielder's choice, he picked up an RBI. You're talking about David Wells. He will have to win the Cy Young Award in the American League for the Blue Jays to win the division.
And he's not going to win the Cy Young Award in the American League.
Well, he'd have to really put together a real solid second half. He's had a great first half.
Great first half. But I think Pedro will be better.
Pedro with 9 wins is pitching tonight against those Expos as McEwing takes inside. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
I don't see how Wells can hold up to that pace.
You're talking about the body.
Conditioning.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing he's able to hold up as long as he's held up, because he does look out of shape. But 15 wins. Ground ball to third. Batista goes to second. That'll do it with the force play. And the Mets here in the top of the 5th inning. 4 runs. And And they all came off the bat of that guy, Mike Piazza. Carpenter has seen enough. So is Piazza. The Mets have a 4-run lead. And we'd like to remind you that New York Mets baseball is brought to you by
Aflac.
Without it, no insurance is complete. Nobody does that better than Gary Thorne.
Except the duck.
You get that duck down to perfection. Well, if you didn't realize it, we are in Toronto.
Not Seattle.
North of the border. And the Mets have a 4-run lead. Raul Mondesi leads it off. He'll be followed by Delgado and then Fulmer. 7-3, the Mets on top of the Blue Jays. If you just tuned in, you missed a Piazza grand salami. Hit a bullet over the pizza sign here. There's a fly ball deep center field. Jay Payton with room makes the grab, 1 down. And with 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th, let's get downstairs to the scout, Mike Crispino. Mike?
Fran, between innings, Jay Payton talked with Mookie Wilson about that play at second when he was called out trying to steal. And Mookie asked him, "Do you think you were in?" He said, "Yes, I did. My foot got in ahead of the tag on the base." Well, Mookie said, "Was the ball there before you?" And he said, "Yes, it was." Well, Mookie explained to him, that's the way it is. The ball gets there before you. You're going to be tagged out. That's the way it is. That's the way it's always been. I asked somebody about it once, an umpire, and he said, that's just the way it is. If the ball beats you to the bag on a stolen base, most of the time you're going to be called out. Back to you.
All right, Mike. Carlos Delgado takes off high. Ball 1. Delgado struck out, and he's also walked in this ball game, so he's 0 for 1. Delgado takes ball 2. Against right-handed pitchers, Delgado is comfortable this year. Comfortably batting .376. He gets under this one. Harris taking charge and makes the grab in an uncomfortable fashion. 2 out. So you give Bobby Jones a 4-run lead. He picks up the pace, throwing strikes.
Not happy with that swing. That bat will probably end up in the fireplace. The way he got rid of that one. And Harris coming way across to make that play.
And Brad Fulmer will be the batter. Fulmer in his ball game walked in the first, grounded to first in the 3rd. Swung on and missed. Let's take a look at our Marriott Marquee pitching matchup.
4 2/3 for the Mets. Bobby Jones, the 3 runs on 6 hits. Carpenter out of the ball game, 7 runs, 5 hits, and 6 walks, 3 strikeouts. We've had.
We have a long fly ball down the right field line. Does it stay fair? Gone! Home run! Brad Fulmer. Number 16 on the season.
Bobby Jones gives up the home run with 2 down in the 5th.
Now he'll pitch to Tony Batista. 7-4 now. The Mets on top of the Blue Jays. Batista takes down low. Ball 1.
I told you with this roof open, those banners want to fly right straight up. The ball carriers, especially in the gaps. Fulmer gets his 16th. Keeps his hit streak alive at 5. The 11th given up by Bobby Jones. 7 of them hit by left-handers.
Popped up. It'll be out of play. So 1 ball and 1 strike on Batista.
17 consecutive games here at SkyDome in which Toronto has had at least 1 home run. They live and die with the long ball.
You know, as you were talking, it reminded me of a few years back when they'd say for so many consecutive days this ballpark has been sold out here in Toronto when it was brand new. Batista popped to second base his first time up, single to center field, drove in a run in the third.
Well, that home run, I was going to say, Fran, we've had 8 walks in this game, and 5 of them scored. 5 of the free passes.
We talked about that percentage earlier in the ball game.
They always come back to bite you. Right in the tattoo.
Where is that tattoo anyway? As Batista walks, I'm sure Bobby Valentine is getting fidgety in the dugout watching this.
Yeah, this will really drive you nuts. You got the first 2 outs. I mean, your club has just given you the big inning, 4 runs. He does come out and works quicker. I think that's a good sign. But now the home run, and now keeps the inning alive by surrendering the walk. These are the things good starting pitchers don't do. You want to come out here and get the side out. You got them down, keep them down.
Fletcher's the batter. He doubled his first time up. Curveball misses. You almost wonder if Bobby will quickly go to the bullpen. Nobody throwing right now. I'm sure he wants to get Bobby Jones a victory.
That's went deep. 5 members of the pen pitched in last night's game.
Yeah. There goes the runner. Throw to second. Almost hit Bobby Jones. We saw it last night with Fletcher and Coco. Well, Mike Piazza. Bobby Jones had to dive out of the way.
Pitchers have led a dangerous life here with their catchers throwing at them in this series. Watch Bobby Jones. Mike Piazza had to come up with a backhand and then lost it.
See, I can laugh because I've done it so many times. You got to watch that pitch. Watch Jones.
Not quite.
And Fletcher pops it up. Jones is going to catch it, but Harris comes in and calls him off. That'll do it for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 5th. They pick up 1. We played 5, and Bobby Jones and the Mets have a 3-run lead. Well, folks, remember Mets Dream Week has a new lower price long weekend format featuring all the fun of living, learning, and playing alongside your Mets heroes. You'll get 5 days and 4 nights at Fort St. Lucie, Florida, and your own authentic Mets uniform, and you'll play with former greats like Cookie Rojas, Ed Charles, and Al Jackson. Call 800-888-4376 to get on the roster.
And it's time for the Coors Silver Light Bullet 6. Larry Kisco from Stratford, Connecticut, tonight's lucky fan. If a Met hits a home run this inning, you'll be our Coors Light Silver Bullet 6th winner. Win a Coors Light hat, a Fox Sports Net t-shirt, and stay tuned for more contest details. Larry Kisco.
Good luck.
Come on down.
David Lamb leads it off for Larry, and then he'll be followed by Lenny Harris and then Derek Bell. Wind is blowing here in Toronto, in the dome. Of course, the roof is open.
Banners, their movement tells you that updraft is in effect.
Lamb pulls the ball foul.
Speaking of updrafts, Fran, how about this today? Colorado beat Oakland today 18-3. Guess where that game was played? They played the split doubleheader yesterday. Oakland won 11-10 in the first game, and Colorado won 10-9 in 10 innings in the nightcap.
The problem with Colorado is, how do you compare players who played in Denver with guys who played in other ballparks in this country as hitters? It's unbelievable. There's a line drive base hit into the gap in right center field. Cruz cuts it off. Lamb hustling. No! Puts the brakes on. They got him. He took a wide turn, put the brakes on, tried to get back to first, and he stumbled.
Lamb was halfway down to second base. Keep this one in mind. This could be an important out. It takes the leadoff man off. He hit the ball hard, which in this case actually proved to be a detriment. See how far down he'd gone, and now whoa, I got to get back there. Delgado nailed him. I mean, a good cutoff by Cruz, the center fielder, to get that throw in, and Graybeck right back to first off the relay.
So it's one man down. Lenny Harris is the batter. Harris takes a strike. Harris led off the ball game in the first with a home run into the right field seats. In the third, he grounded out, and he walked in the fifth. Swung on and missed. Harris now with 2 home runs on a year and 14 RBIs, still batting under 200 and 195.
I'll tell you about that home field advantage at Coors. Of course, the league's leading hitter in the National League is from there, Todd Helton. And Helton hitting .445 at home.
2 outs.
Jeff Cirillo is hitting .445 at home with Colorado. Thomas Goodwin's batting .353 at home. How do you measure that?
Yeah.
Todd Helton, I talked with him the other day on Sunday. I asked him that question, and Helton said, look, I'm not going to apologize for playing here. This is where I play. This is what I do. If I'm able to take advantage of it, why should that be held against me?
I don't blame him, but you know, when you start comparing numbers 35 years from now, I mean, how do you say
I agree.
Todd Helton was a better hitter than Carlos Delgado?
Or Mike Piazza this year.
Yeah.
Mike hits in a real tough ballpark at Shea and has had to put big numbers up on the road to get where he is.
Derek Bell just took a ball 2-0 on Derek Bell. In fact, talking to some of the Met players yesterday before the ball game, they were talking about how the ball jumps here, and Jay Payton said, you know what, I'm coming to the conclusion the ball jumps every place except Shea Stadium. Hard hit ball in the right field. That ball exploded off the bat of Derek Bell. So the Mets have a base runner with 2 men down here in the top of the 6th.
Bell may be coming out of his funk a little bit, as he's had a couple of hits tonight, 2 for 3. And he is 4 for 13 in the series.
Talked about it last night when he got that big hit late in the ball game to tie it up. He questioned whether or not that would help bring Derek Bell out of his slump, and tonight with a couple of blows. Bell on first, Alfonso the batter. Fonzie walked, singled, and walked. Walked in the first, singled in the third, walked in the fifth. Drives the ball in the gap. Mets should pick up a run. Extra bases for Fonzie. Here comes Bell. The throw in, no throw to the plate. Bell scores easily, and the Mets go back to a 4-run lead. It's 8-4 Mets, and Fonzie with a double and an RBI.
Ricardo Alfonso coming through with big hits. Bell able to take off on that one. Yet another 2-out run scored in this ball game, and Alfonso hitting the ball hard. Watch him drive this. It's on the outside part of the plate, but down, went to get it, put it in the gap. Cruz could not cut it off before it got by him. Bell, of course, taking off here on contact. That ball was stung all the way to the wall. There was no chance on the relay throw for a play at the plate.
Mike Piazza, the batter. He's already gone deep. He takes a strike. Not only did he go deep, he hit it over his favorite sign. A pizza sign. It's not up right now, but it was up when he hit it into the left field seats. It was a grand slam home run. Fouls it off. 0-2 on Mike Piazza.
What are the chances on the rotating sign? There's a good chance you're going to hit a grand slam if you're Mike Piazza. But what are the chances the rotating sign will say pizza when you do it? Huh?
That's wild.
Which is more unlikely? The grand slam by Piazza or the pizza sign being there when he does it?
Well, he got 28 home runs on 81 RBIs.
Closing in on the leaders in that department as he's piling them up. Kent with 85 starting today.
Outside to Piazza. Piazza is 13 home runs away from tying Todd Hundley for most home runs by a catcher in one season. The number 41. Does he hit right-handers? Well, he's batting .349 against right-handers right now. Jam, ball is booted. Easy out at first base. So Piazza grounds out. Fonzie is stranded. The bat's in half. Lenny Harris has had a big night. Bobby Jones has been cold and hot. Carpenter said, I've seen enough. And Mike Piazza is the story. A grand slam. Homer has a home run. Bobby.
Mike Crispino back at SkyDome. The Mets with an 8-4 lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. They held a team meeting about 5:20 yesterday afternoon after coming out of the break losing 3 of 4 and 9 of 12. Bobby Valentine talking about taking care of the little details, saying the team isn't that far away from snapping out of it. If we start picking up some runners in scoring position, we'll get back on the beam. And that's been happening these last 2 days. 15 runs now for the Mets in these last 2 against the Blue Jays. Fran, back to you.
All right, Mike, as Bobby Valentine has a smile on his face. So far in this ball game, Bobby Jones is now throwing strikes. It's 0-1 on Jose Cruz. 8-4, New York on top of Toronto. 10 hits for New York, 7 for the Blue Jays. Another curveball. 0-2. Gary, do you remember when they made the trade, trading Cruz from Seattle to the Blue Jays, and everybody criticized the Mariners?
They may have known something.
Yeah, he ended up in the minor leagues here with the Blue Jays.
Struggle for him to be consistent at the plate.
He's hitting .239. He fouls it off. Those first 2 pitches might have told the story, the 2 hooks.
The switch hitter, which obviously helps in this day and age when you don't get many of them, but neither side has been particularly fruitful. 281 right-handed, only 223 left-handed. He obviously has power with the 21 home runs that he's picked up, and that's always tantalizing for any team.
Got 48 RBIs, plays a solid defense in center field. You mentioned that switch hitting. There are only 5 switch hitters in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I always thought there would be more because, as you mentioned, it seems like it's easier because the breaking ball's coming into you. Easier to hit. Now, there's a breaking ball that's way inside.
I think a lot of times switch hitters surrender their natural side attributes by moving to the other side of the plate. That one just a little bit inside. It wasn't really that close.
Great example of that breaking ball coming into a left-handed hitter from a right-handed pitcher. But Cruz swings at the heater and misses. So he's 1 for 3. He's got a double in his ball game. Cruz striking out. That's been his problem.
He's one of the new breed of players, though, where striking out doesn't matter much. If you can hit home runs, you take the strikeouts. And as we've noted, because that's just a fact, he struck out 76 times on the year now. New breed of hitters, good ones, are not offended at high strikeout numbers.
No. And I remember Richie Allen, who was a very, very good hitter, said it doesn't matter how I make it out. Well, pretty much does. If you look at last night's ball game, Mike Piazza in a crucial situation hit a ground ball up the middle. It was an out, but he drove in a big RBI to put the Mets ahead. Well, there's 2 good curveballs right there to Homer Bush.
I mean, nothing happens in a strikeout.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No. When you put it in play, it could be an error. And last night we saw Piazza drive in the winning run on a ground ball up the middle.
Mike's only struck out 39 times.
That's an amazing stat. His power. Homer Bush takes outside, so it's 1-2 on the Blue Jays second baseman.
I mean, when you've got Piazza with his great offensive numbers and he's got 31 walks and 39 Ks coming into the game, that is really wonderful. No, that's a great number.
100 pitches now with this pitch from Bobby Jones. There's the hook. Homer Bush waited on it. It's a fly ball to center field. A can of corn for Peyton. 2 down. Now we'll take a look at our Delta upcoming schedule.
New York Mets will be heading to Montreal after the ball game tonight. A 2-game series there tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Glendon Rush and Tony Armas. And then on Thursday, Mike Hampton and Dustin Hermanson. And then it's the Braves on Friday night on the WB11, Saturday on Fox 5, and Sunday on ESPN, the Sunday night game. With Millwood, Mulholland, and Maddox against Leiter, Reed, and Jones.
Jones right here with that overhand curve. He has captured the mechanics of that overhand curveball in this ball game. Struggled early on. Now he is throwing it for real good strikes. Shannon Stewart, 2 doubles in this game, and he's grounded out. Takes a strike. 0-2 on the Blue Jay left fielder. Coffee is delivered. I like that. To the duck.
You don't drink much coffee. Because I drink it all.
I don't.
To the duck.
I've never worked with a duck before. Now only Groucho Marx and myself have worked with a duck.
You say the magic word, you win $100.
Affleck, they gonna love you.
Affleck.
It's 0-2 on Shannon Stewart.
I do voiceovers, by the way, for anyone from Affleck's advertising department.
He does it very well.
And Quack.
Fouled out of play. So we'll do it again at 0-2. See if Bobby Jones drops that big hook on Shannon Stewart. Shannon Stewart with some solid credentials this year. 326 average, 11 home runs, 37 RBIs.
Talking about Pedro Martinez, Boston's got a 2-1 lead over Montreal in the 8th inning. He had 10 strikeouts through 7. They just got a run off him, the Expos did.
Hanging curveball in the gap. And this guy can fly. Stewart will hold on at second base with a double. So Shannon Stewart, his third double of the game.
Waiting on that one. Bobby Jones with that off-speed breaking ball, and that one stayed right there. Hit me, hit me. And Shannon Stewart did into that gap in left center with its artificial carpet. This ballpark, while it does surrender lots of home runs, gives up even more extra base hits because balls are going to go by the outfielders. On this carpet, they go to the wall in a hurry. 8 hits, 7 for extra bases here tonight for the Jays.
Stewart leading off second base. Graybeck the batter. He's doubled, grounded out, and fly it out. There's that big curveball. 0-1. You know, it's funny. You look at it on TV and you think, boy, that's a nice-looking pitch to hit. There's so much of a differential between his fastball and that overhand curveball. You commit, and then you watch. Fastball. Misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Mets with 10 hits. The Blue Jays with 8.
They're important runs in this ballpark. It's one of those yards where you can never get enough in the run department, and you get chances like this when you're behind. Need to get big hits.
Bounce to third. Harris to Zeal. Zeal with the tag on the top of the coconut. And that'll do it for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 6th. They fail to score. They strand a runner. The Mets have a 4-run lead. And we'll be back. Well, back here at the SkyDome. Now we'll take a look at our in-game box score. How did the Mets get what they got? Well, look at the GS. Grand slam. Mike Piazza. 2 RBIs, Alfonso. And that's the combination. That's how the Mets will win. Fonzie and Piazza have to carry him. Now back here with the play-by-play, Gary Thorne.
Thank you, Fran and Todd Zeal, as we go to the 7th inning. Zeal, a single, a walk, called out on strikes. As the Mets will try and add some more here as they are in the rubber match against Toronto, 8-3, in the games these two teams have played over the interleague years. That one inside, twisting him around. This will conclude the interleague season for the Mets. And next year we go back to the interleague. We'll be looking at a whole new schedule in that regard. Mets and Yankees probably will play just one series next year. And the teams are going to be playing outside. It used to be the east of the National League would play the east of the American. Now it's going to be probably the east of the National against the west of the American. We're going to start doing that, rotating the games.
Might lose some of its luster.
I agree. 2-1. Foul back by Zeal.
Of course, New York is very different. In New York, when the Mets and the Yankees play, the city, as far as baseball is concerned, comes to a standstill. Everybody's focusing on that series. You get outside of New York, and it just doesn't have the intensity.
No.
I mean, just think of the Cubs and the White Sox, the Angels and the Dodgers, the Giants and the A's. The intensity is not as great as we see in New York.
The 2 deliveries. Zeal slapping it off the end of the bat. Whoosh to Delgado. Zeal's retired, 1 away in the 7th inning. Peyton and Agbayani due up here for the Mets. New York 21-24 on the road this year. Love to get that up to 500. They are 29-17 at home. Peyton coming up. A single. 1 for 3 in the ball game. Estrella's delivery to him off the end of the bat again. Cue shot foul. Delgado knocks it down.
Well, Peyton was billed as a free swinger coming out of the minor league. Now he's going to change his bat to chipped wood. And he has proven he is a free swinger. Tough to lead him off on this ball club because he's not going to take many pitches. His best slot would probably, as he gets hotter and drives in more runs, the number 5 hole will probably be his best slot. He's got 9 home runs. He has the power to hit about 25. He can run. Should be able to drive in runs. He has 29 right now. Keep in mind he had that horrendous slump earlier this year, which knocked him out of the starting lineup.
A little time taken here with home plate umpire. Fletcher is regrouping after a shot off his foot at the plate. 0-1 delivery. Oh, over his head. Hello. You saw Zeal in his at-bat twist around on a pitch and smile at the catcher and the umpire. He knows that this youngster is making his first major league appearance is wild. And he just proved it.
Yeah, that ball just got away right here. Now, one thing you have to overcome to be able to play this game of baseball, you never overcome it. You have to deal with it. The fear of being hit with the baseball. And little leaguers think they have a monopoly on it, but they don't. Major leaguers fear the baseball.
Can you not? Grounded to second base. Bush again. 2 down. Peyton retired.
But you remember as a kid how, you had that fear of the ball. It's major leaguers have it. They just have to learn to adjust and be able to react, get out of the way of the ball. And there's a certain way to get hit with a pitch. Up in the head area, there's no way. But if you're going to get hit, a ball coming at you, it's almost like you're catching it. You give with it if you can't get out of the way. But Peyton just did get out of the way of that fastball.
Back grounded out. Swung on and missed. Agbayani. Agbayani. 1 for 2 in the ball game. Picked up that walk in the 4th inning. Jay Peyton, a little walk just to make sure he can still do it. Shaking his head about it. Swung on and missed.
Well, one thing, when a ball gets away from a pitcher, whether it's intentional or unintentional, and you go down, you're not as comfortable in that batter's box. And the good hitters will tell you, and the good hitting instructors, in order to hit, you've got to be completely relaxed. Well, if you go down the pitch before, you're not completely relaxed. That is the value of the pitching inside off the plate. And there's a guy right there that's an example of, he only came back in Boston. He looked pretty good at the dish. And once you get hit with a pitch, you got to get back in that lineup as quickly as possible.
Estrella trying to get the side out here. And a check swing. Did he go? Yes. Guzzi making the call, and Benny Agbayani retired. Estrella's got 2 strikeouts, and he retires the side in order. 7th inning stretch time from Toronto, where the Mets lead it 8-4. Way back left field. Goodbye. Home run. Raul Mondesi.
You're going to see some action in that bullpen now. The alarm has sounded. That's the alarm. Raul Mondesi. He hit the ball off the restaurant. You can't even eat in peace around here.
Boy, did he watch it.
He watched it. And this is bang, gone. Let me watch it. Bobby Jones took a look. Whoa.
That's a long way, he said. 24 home runs by Raul Mondesi up there into the 2nd deck.
Hit off the window of the restaurant.
3rd deck. Actually, because that's another run up there. That's why it's never enough. 8-5 game.
When you see something like bang off the window of the restaurant, what happens? Action in the bullpen.
Fouled off by Carlos Delgado. For Raul Mondesi, playing here in this ballpark, that's 10 home runs he's had at home and 14 on the road. Cook is up for the Mets. 2 home runs off Bobby Jones in tonight's game. Fulmer the other. Delgado 0 for 2 and a walk. Mondesi picking up their 9th hit. And that's drilled to the gap in right center field. Way back of the wall. Takes a halfway up. Second base. It'll be a double. Delgado.
Well, somebody's going to get killed out there. That was a bullet off the wall. So Delgado hits a frozen rope 400 feet. Bobby Jones comes in with a heater. Got a good portion of the plate. Delgado said, I like it. You know what? I'm surprised it didn't carry over the wall because that had some giddy-up.
I think he just hit it so hard it was a laser. It was just never went up or down. It just kept going. 428-foot home run by Raul Mondesi and a 400-foot double. And Brad Fulmer coming up with power. 7 doubles, 9 extra base hits. It's a season high for the Jays. 7 doubles and 9 extra base hits.
Well, I guess Bobby right now wants to see if Bobby Jones can get past the 7th. Well,
no, I don't think so. Hang on. Boy, that's a late out of the dugout, isn't it? Don't throw that ball.
I know. I mean, well, Dave Wall is coming out of the dugout. Really, the Mets have to go to the bullpen. They got the left-hander warming up. Bobby Jones has pitched to 2 batters this inning. Mondesi hit a Ruthian shot. Delgado almost put a hole in the center field wall. So Bobby Jones has lost it here in the 7th inning. But he can win this ball game.
That's what matters for the New York Mets and actually for Bobby Jones as well. He wants to get back into that column. He lost outings against Boston, losing games against Boston and the Yankees. He was non-decisioned in one, lost the other. Non-decision against Florida before that. His last win June 28th. He's not had a win here in July. So Bobby Jones has given the Mets a chance to win. Now the left-hander Cook will come on to face the left-hander Fulmer, with the Mets leading at 8-5. To you by Ford Cars and Trucks, built for the way you live at your tri-state quality Ford store. By British Airways, the world's favorite airline. And by the awesome 222 horsepower Nissan Maxima, Nissan's flagship sedan.
Boy, talk about driven. There were some balls driven here tonight. Dave Wallace coming out of the dugout to get Dennis Cook. Bobby Jones was ready to pitch. And Dave Wallace got the word. The patient is all right. Go get him. Bobby Valentine was yelling out there at home plate umpire Terry Kraft. And then Dave Wallace came out of the dugout. They bring in Dennis Cook. He's set to go. And balls are jumping all over this ballpark. We talked about how the balls carry. Well, Bobby Jones has an opportunity now to pick up a victory.
Well, the bullpen got it done last night for the Mets. The Mets relievers combined for 6 hitless innings last night. First time in the majors in more than a year that a team's bullpen had a hitless performance of 6 or more innings. The Mets finished the game with 8 consecutive hitless innings. Last time the Mets went that long doing that, 87th. And Dennis Cook was part of that. Mahomes, Cook, Wendell, Franco, and Benitez got that job done last night, and we're back in the pen again. 7th inning, nobody out, a run in. Delgado's on at second base. Brad Fulmer with a home run, his last time up, his 16th of the year. And a chopper towards the middle. Cut off, and the play made by Lamb.
Made that look easy. Lamb cutting across in front of second base, gloving that ball. Cookie Rojas says he's a very good defensive player. Of course, Lamb's really never hit for a big average, but he's in this ball game tonight for one reason: catch it. You hope he gets some offense. They got a base hit up from Lamb tonight, but Ball wasn't hit that hard, but Lamb cutting across in front of McEwing and making the throw to first base.
He was claimed on waivers from Tampa Bay in February. Went to Norfolk. Came with the New York Mets on July 5 to make his Met debut. And now back again with the injuries with Ventura gone. Here's Bautista. RBI single in the ball game. Bad cut on a ball away from Cook.
Yeah, Cook threw that ball right by Bautista. Not many pitchers are overpowering this guy Bautista this year. He's having a real solid season. We made note that since coming over to the Blue Jays last June, he's hit 53 home runs.
His average way down against left-handers, 238 off left-handers this year. Runner at third base, one out. Launches that one to right field, but it's heading towards the seats. Tony Bautista last year against left-handers hit 282.
You know, you wonder how or why he decided to stand at the plate the way he is standing, waiting for the ball to be delivered. I know Andres Galarraga goes into his stance because he feels he gets a better look at the ball. Eventually, they turn that front shoulder in and stride toward the ball.
How would you even try it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's not something you're just going to go up there and say, someday, and say, I think I'll hit like this.
I know. You take a look at him from the side, looks like he's waiting for a bus.
0-2 count. Infield back here in an 8-5 game. And ripped. Oh, man, look out over the head of Delgado. Delgado looking and going, hey, I'm on your side. Gary Bevington, third base coach.
This is a situation when you're on third base, you got to be aware or you get clobbered. Bevington almost got hit also. He said, I'm going to get further away than you.
Gary Bevington, former manager of the White Sox, now here as the third base coach.
Look at him where he's going. He's
way back.
He's going for safety.
2-strike count with one down, and backing out is Bautista. Each team with 10 hits. The Mets, though, have the 8-5 lead. The grand slam by Piazza, the big blow so far in the ball game. Popped that one up. Only one away. Payton. He's got it. Tag made, but he's not going to even try, obviously. Play comes through to Piazza. So Bautista retired. He doesn't get it done. Sac fly would have got a run in, and instead there are two down.
Well, Mike Piazza got out there and was going to block the ball. He knew Delgado was hanging on at third base, so he wanted to block it. You know, we're taught early on to get the mask and throw it off. More and more catchers, though, are keeping the mask on when the ball's coming in from the outfield, and I think it's easy. It's easier for a catcher if you keep the mask on, because you'll tend, on that play right there, a catcher would tend to pull his head because his face is not protected. With the mask on, you can keep your head down because it is protected. Plus, when a runner's coming home, they go for that unprotected area, and a lot of times they go for the head. So if you keep the mask on, they go for the head, you do damage to their body with that mask.
Mike Piazza, two down. Fletcher, a double in the second inning, 1 for 3. Runner at third, 2 away. Dennis Cook inside to Fletcher, leaned him away. Fletcher's had only 30 at-bats against left-handers, but he's hitting .300, 9 for 30, with 1 home run off southpaws. Yankees have beaten Philadelphia by a score of 3-1 in their ball game. Denny Nagel made his appearance for the Yankees successfully, his debut. And Montreal, a loser to Boston, are losing in the 9th inning, 3-1, with Martinez looking for the win.
That'll be his 10th of the year.
And Boston a game behind the Yankees, with Toronto a half game behind. Mets go to Montreal for that 2-game set starting tomorrow evening. 1 ball, 1 strike count, 2 away. Fletcher takes the pitch away. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Dennis Cook trying to prevent any further problems right here, because the long ball, you're at risk with Fletcher up there. Bobby Jones waiting, 6+ innings, 111 pitches, 68 strikes. 2-1, 3-1.
Fletcher comfortable against left-handers this year, batting .300.
Cruz on deck. If you got a base open, I mean, you don't want to put a lot of people on here, but Cruz might be a little easier to get. 3-1. Sidearm that one.
Yeah, we talked about Cruz earlier from the left side. He's very comfortable, although batting .230. He's got some pop from the left side of the plate. From the right side of the plate, he's hit, I believe, around 3 home runs.
Now Cook 3-2 would like to get this 3-1 rather. Would like to get this done right here with 2 down. At third base, Delgado, the homer by Mondesi starting the inning off Bobby Jones. Delgado double moved over. But they've not been able to get him in, and he was on second base with nobody out. Bobby Jones with a 3-2. Center field, Payton. And that will do it. 1 run in, a couple of hits, a base runner left on. The Toronto Blue Jays have had at least 1 man stranded in all 7 innings. Bobby Jones is out of there, but a chance to win the ball game, even though he gave up Mondesi's 24th homer. Harris started the ball game out with a lead-off homer. Second home run of the year. Bobby Jones, trying to keep it in the yard. Mondesi, a little help from the fans. Ended up as fan interference, even though the fan tried to turn that ball back. Piazza, the grand slam home run, came in the 5th inning. Mondesi getting his 24th in the 7th inning. Our GM game summary.
Piazza with a home run over a pizza sign. His 12th grand slam coming in back in the 5th inning. Alfonso 2 for 2. It's a good sign because Fonzie has been struggling with the bat.
Matt DeWitt is now on the mound. Estrella out of there. He came on in the 5th inning after the grand slam was delivered by Mike Piazza. Now we'll see DeWitt, and that pitch is taken for a strike on the outside corner. DeWitt made his debut this season, June 20 against Detroit. He's worked in 5 of the last 14 games now with 18 hits and 12 2/3. 1-1 delivery, and the right-hander breaking ball is down and away. McEwing, 1 ball, 2 strike count on him. Pitch skipped all the way to the backstop. We are seeing in this Toronto staff, here's a team a half game out of a division lead. And this is not derogatory towards the individuals involved, but Jim Fregosi is having to use pitcher tonight, Estrella.
Yep.
Major league out of Double-A ball, really. DeWitt, major league experience prior to the year, 0.
Their one constant is Wells, and of course the kid coming out of the bullpen, Koch, who gets the ball up there 100 miles an hour, is an overpowering pitcher. But Wells with 15 wins, and as we mentioned earlier, as you look at Koch, Wells will have to win the Cy Young Award for the Blue Jays to win the division.
And got that down and away. Good pitch.
Wells has no room to lose ball games if the Blue Jays are to win.
Got that one.
Gordon Nash, general manager of the Blue Jays. He's on the phone right now, wheeling and dealing.
He's been talking for weeks, trying to come up with either a bat or a pitcher or both to help the Jays. 1 down, 8th inning. Lamb up, 1 for 3 with a single, then got caught too big a turn at first base after he picked up that base hit and was thrown out back at first. 1-0 count. Witt's breaking ball misses down low, bouncing off the plate that time. 2-0 count on Lamb. Top of the order, Harris waiting on deck. And he takes the 2-0 away. A 3-0 count on Lamb. Mets are going to have to face the middle of that Toronto order again. So they want to try and tack some on here late. DeWitt surrenders the free pass. Carpenter walks 6. DeWitt adds another to that category. With the 1 down, Lamb is on and Harris is up. Lenny Harris has drawn 1 of the walks and scored ahead of Piazza in the Grand Slam. He had a home run leading off the first inning. Turk Wendell in the bullpen. Harris has had a productive series here. Fastball is taken up high. A couple of runs scored in this ball game for Harris, and Bell has crossed the plate 3 times. So the top 2 hitters, Harris and Bell, 5 of the Met 8 runs. That one to the gap in left center field. Not going to get that one. That'll take a hop all the way to the wall. Lamb coming around third will score, and Harris has done it again. Another base hit and another RBI for Lenny Harris. 2 RBIs in the ball game.
Had a big night last night. Comes back again. Home run, double. Picks up some RBIs. Playing third base. And last night there was a lot of talk, a lot of questions as to why wouldn't you put Zeal at third base. Bobby Valentine pushing the right button, keeping Harris at third. And once again tonight he played third base. He picks up a double, driving in another run, and the Mets have a 9-5 lead over the Blue Jays.
Another walk, another run scored. Boy, have the Mets taken advantage of that in this ball game.
That'll quicken up the pace. Make that deal. Whoop. He's talking to Jim Fregosi.
I was like, what? Talk to me, Jim. Get back on there. Jimmy? Fregosi, I don't want to talk right now. Got enough going on down here. ERA of this ball club is 12th in the American League. It's high. They win with offense. And the Mets have a 9-5 lead. Harris with the RBI on at second base. Still only 1 away. Bell takes a strike on the inside corner. Bell has been on with 2 singles and a walk and scored all 3 times. More importantly, he came in with 2 hits in his last 22 at bats. Has 2 hits tonight. 0-1 pitch to him. Breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike. 0-2 on Derek Bell. Matt DeWitt checking at second. Oh, man. Bell was heading to the outside of the plate and had to do a pretzel to get out of the way.
Well, you talk about pitchers that have to pitch inside, and one of the reasons you have to pitch inside, hitters do dive in. We've seen this happen to Derek Bell a number of times this year. If a hitter's diving in, you got to keep him honest, and Derek Bell will be an honest man, at least for the next pitch.
Almost broke his back on that one. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Harris off second base. And he went back outside and missed the corner. Bell at .350 with runners in scoring position. He has been up there among the leaders for the Mets. He and Edgardo Alfonso. The best numbers for New York with runners in scoring position most of this year. Two ball, 2 strike count. 1 away. Bell waited on it. Payback time. Way back in center field. Looking up and goodbye. Home run. After he got decked, he drilled it. A 2-run homer. And the Mets lead at 11-5.
Well, Derek Bell not happy with the ball way inside, but you have to pitch inside. He gets them excited. Payback is tough. Derek Bell paid back to win. He's still unhappy with that pitch that was way inside. And when he hit that ball, just the way he flipped the bat. Now watch this. Here's the ball that's inside. DeWitt throwing a heater up and in around that neck area. Bell not happy, dives out there, and he drives it. Look at the way he flipped that bat. So he wanted to show up DeWitt after DeWitt goes inside, and he was knocked down. But this ball carried and bang off the concrete, straight away center field.
Edgardo Alfonso, center field, not deep. Cruz coming and puts it away. 2 down. So the Mets with 3 runs in the 8th inning. Bell has his 13th home run. He has scored 4 runs in this game and has 2 RBIs. What a night for the Mets right fielder.
He's still not happy about that pitch, but DeWitt throwing that ball inside because Bell was diving out over the plate. He tried to intimidate Bell, but Bell dove back out over the plate and hit the ball over 400 feet.
Now Piazza, the grand slam, his 28th home run of the year, came in the 5th. We piled him up in a hurry. His 12th career grand slam. Swung on and missed. Bell is a battler. He's got his own lifestyle and his own way, but when it comes to playing the game, he comes to play. 1-1. Waved at that time by Piazza.
Yeah, in fact, Bell last year struggled with the Houston Astros. When he came over to the Mets, he was really a throw-in in a deal with Mike Hampton. He had something to prove, and he proved it. And once again tonight, he comes through hitting a home run.
Piazza, the ground ball to short. Graybeck. And that will do it. But the Mets come through. 3 runs. They do it on a couple of hits and leave nobody on. Bell delivering the blast, and an important one here in the 8th inning. 11-5. Chevrolet Met Fanatic Challenge question on the Fox Sports Net spots. Where is Met Fanatic Pat's Mets tattoo? And the answer is D, the shoulder. Take a look at the winners tonight. Janet Ryan, Charles Miller, and Leah Bernard. Congratulations. Watch tomorrow's game for your last chance to win. They're going to get the tickets to the Cardinal Mets game. Rich Rodriguez out of the pen.
So Rodriguez on a relief. Bobby Jones, Dennis Cook out of the ball game. The 7.42 ERA. Bobby Valentine continues to run Rich Rodriguez out there. He needs him. He needs him to be effective. Rodriguez went down to the minor leagues and comes back up, and Bobby Valentine throws him right back out there. 16 strikeouts for the southpaw, and he'll take on Jose Cruz, Homer Bush, and Shannon Stewart. And what's coming up tomorrow? Well, the Mets stay in Canada. They go over to play those Expos. Geico Mets on deck at 6:30. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Net, the Mets and the Expos. Then Thursday afternoon, the second game and final game of that 2-game series against the Expos. Mets head down to Atlanta to take on the Braves over the weekend for 3 games.
Lyndon Rush, Tony Armas go tomorrow. Mike Hampton and Dustin Hermanson on Thursday afternoon. And then on to Atlanta. 11-12-0 for New York, 5-10-0 for Toronto. Rich Rodriguez. First ball to right. Bell back. Not going to get to that one. Cruz on his way to second base and thinking about 3. Cruz on his way to third base. Relay throw not in time. A leadoff triple.
Well, we talked about Cruz struggling against left-handed pitchers batting from the right side of the plate. They say he doesn't juice the ball as well as he does from the left side, but he's standing on third base with a leadoff triple here in the 8th inning. Rodriguez with the ball over the heart of the plate, and Cruz hitting that ball over Bell's head. Bell unable to come up with the ball as it ricochets off the wall. Cruz seeing that ball get past Bell, hustled on a third base with a triple.
4th triple of the year for Cruz. And the pitch is taken up high for a ball. Just noting on the, now that the Mets have 11 runs in the game, this is the 20th time that Toronto has yielded 10 or more runs in a game. 20th time.
Unbelievable.
And there's still a half game out in the division.
Yeah.
Elias Sports Bureau researched that, and on that number, the major league record for 10 or more runs in a game in a season is 45, held by the 1930 Phillies.
Well, this team has been a pleasant surprise here in Toronto, and of course the big lift for this ball club, besides the great offensive production, is the hefty southpaw who's got 15 wins, David Wells.
Rodriguez puts that one in the dirt. Bush 0 for 3, 1 for 13 in the series. 11-5 game, bottom half of the 8th inning, and as we mentioned, the Mets pitchers are going to have to see the middle of that order again, either here or in the 9th inning. Rodriguez working with the runner at third base. That one lifted center. Payton moves over, makes the play, tagging up Cruz, and he will score. And it's 11-6, sac fly RBI for Bush. "17 RBIs for Homer Bush." It clears the bases, though, and one down. Shannon Stewart's trying for 4 doubles in a ball game. A double in the first, second, and sixth. 3 for 4. And all 3 of them doubles. And takes it down low. Stewart now at 24, 2 baggers on the year. Still out of the top 10 by just 1. Strike on the outside corner. Note the zeros highlighted. This has been an offensive game. New York didn't score, 2nd and 7. Toronto didn't score, 4th and 6th. That one hit in the air down the line. They were not playing him there. That's going to roll over into the corner. Agbayani over to get it, and he has done it again. 4 doubles in this ball game for Shannon Stewart.
He's got double speed. He can fly. 4 doubles for the Blue Jay left fielder. We talked about his offense. The only thing the Blue Jays are concerned about is his throwing arm. He can do everything else. And here he loops that ball down the left field line and easily goes into second base with a double. So 4 doubles on the night for Shannon Stewart.
That'll tie a Blue Jay record with 4 doubles. Damaso Garcia in '86 had 4 doubles in a game. Craig Gray back now, and hang on here. 1 away, runner at second base.
John Franco throwing in the Met bullpen now.
Franco worked in last night's game as well. Drilled foul.
Boy, in this ball game, we have heard from way up here a lot of balls being hit hard. We have seen a lot of balls ricocheting off the wall. Maybe the hardest ball hit tonight was Delgado's double. He almost put a hole in the center field fence.
A laser shot. And that's why Bobby Valentine is not resting comfortably with an 11-6 lead.
It's like a Coors Field game.
Grayback takes the pitch inside. Grayback a double himself in the first and an RBI.
Mondesi hitting a ball off the windows of the restaurant in left field. Piazza hitting a bullet into the blue seats. Grand slam for Piazza.
Mondesi you saw on deck. 17 runs, 24 hits combined in this game. 2-1, fouled off by Grayback.
Boy, tonight you can forget the scouting reports. It's throat and duck.
Toronto trying to get back to the postseason. World Championships 92-93 for this franchise, and then downhill. And a chance this year to make it either in the division or as a wild card.
Gary, how about 11 out of 12 hits tonight for the Blue Jays? Extra bases.
They are piling up total bases here tonight, yet trailing 11-6. I mean, generally those kind of numbers means you're winning a ball game. Rodriguez missed outside with that, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Mets have been retired in order in the 2nd and 7th. The only time side's been retired in order. Toronto has had someone on every inning. They've left somebody on every inning. They've left 8 on base so far. 3-2. Grayback's got a base hit. Stewart, ball hit too hard for him to score. He'll stop. Payton gets it into Zeal. 1st and 3rd, and Mondesi coming up.
Well, Bobby Valentine has to be very concerned right now. Rich Rodriguez, who pretty much has struggled all year. He's been ineffective and of great concern to Bobby Valentine and Dave Wallace. And Bobby's bringing him in this ball game tonight, and we have a 11-6 score. The Blue Jays trailing the Mets. Well, 1 swing of the bat right now, and you got an 11-9 game. Mondesi with an awful lot of power. He showed a long home run tonight off the window of the restaurant in left field.
Rodriguez, an ERA is 7.42. And here's Mondesi, an 11-6 game. Rodriguez has been brought in, and again, this isn't disparaging towards him, but this is supposed to be a mop-up role. And that's what he's really come down to now for the Mets, is mopping up games, because he's not been successful. He is someone on the staff who's going to go as soon as they've got anybody they feel either through trade or call-up is going to be better, because he is not contributing right now.
And Bobby Valentine has certainly tried to run him out there as much as possible.
Down the right field line, Bell's way over the other way, and that's a foul ball.
Biggest thing, though, if you're a manager, is you got to run the players out there if they're going to help your team. You can't sit a guy down and never play him. We're going to go back to the 7th inning. Bang! Long home run. Mondesi admiring the ball. It hit off the window of the restaurant, ricocheting down into the seats. So Mondesi liked what he saw.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away, 11-5, 11-6 actually. Mets on top. The extra base hits are 11-5. That one down to 3rd. Good stop, Harris. Get 1, throw to 1st, not in time, but a fine play by Lenny Harris at 3rd base. Tough slide into 2nd by Graybeck.
Now 11-7.
Mondesi will be credited with an RBI.
Ball hit to Harris, who goes to 2nd quickly, but Mondesi has very good speed. You look at his build, it's deceptive. He's like a fullback with good speed. Beating the throw to 1st base. So Mondesi's on 1st, and Carlos Delgado, who hit an absolute frozen rope off the center field fence, is the batter. And it looks like that'll be all for Rich Rodriguez as Dave Wallace makes his way to the mound. John Franco's been throwing in the bullpen.
2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, no walks, no strikeouts. He'll be responsible for the base runner on at 1st. So Rich Rodriguez out of the ball game in the 8th inning. It's now an 11-7 game, and Carlos Delgado awaits. Just shaking his head over there. He knows that if this keeps up very much longer, it's the end. You wonder, is it the end of a career or just the end with the Mets, or will he go? Would he go to the minors? He's ineffective, knows it, and Mets cannot afford to have a position taken if he can't get people out.
And as we mentioned earlier, if you're on the ball club, Bobby Valentine has to have confidence in the players and send them out there. You can't have a guy sit on the bench or sit in the bullpen and not play. John Franco has been very effective in his last 10 appearances, 8 2/3 innings, and he's not allowed a run.
He got the win in last night's game, working an inning and a 1/3, a couple of strikeouts. And Delgado, 0 for 2 against him lifetime, fouls it off. So a big moment in this ball game with a runner at 1st, 2 down. Carlos Delgado up. They've already moved a couple of runs across here in the 8th inning. They're going to get at least 1 more at bat, down by 4. Delgado, 309 off left-handers and 5 home runs off southpaws.
offseason.
Franco away, 1-1.
During the last offseason, there was some talk about Delgado possibly getting traded.
There's a lot of talk about that.
Yeah, really. I mean, with his talents.
It's one of those. I don't think anybody expected Toronto to be playing as well as they are, for one thing.
They've been a big surprise in the East.
Takes a strike. Delgado is the primary reason for that. Triple Crown candidate. I mean, his numbers offensively, almost every offensive category in the American League, he's in it. He leads both in slugging and on-base percentage in the league and in extra base hits. 1-2 strike pitch to him. Outside. 2-2. John Franco. Looking back. Thinking, boy, it would have been nice to have had that one called a strike.
Was it a strike? No. But it would have been nice if you're the pitcher to get it called a strike.
Yeah. 2-2. Runner goes. Delgado, a broken bat bloop right where Lamb was going to cover the bag. Good work by John Franco. Gets out of the inning. Couple of runs scored. 3 hits. Base runner left on. Go to the 9th with the Mets up 5-4. Here in Toronto, major hit in this game. Not only Piazza's home run, but an at-bat by Mr. Bell.
Dodge drive of the game. Derek Bell, after being knocked down, boom, gets up quickly. Not happy. Dives back in. Long home run, flips the bat, showing up DeWitt off the concrete, straightaway center field. That's our Dodge drive of the game.
And DeWitt is out of this ball game, having worked just that 1 inning, giving up the 3 runs, couple of hits, a walk, and a strikeout. And here in Toronto at SkyDome, Lance Painter, the veteran left-hander, 33 years old, worked last night, comes on again.
See that 4.54 ERA in 25 ball games. And Painter with 33 strikeouts in 39 innings, 39 2/3 innings.
Mets will have Zeal, Payton, and Agbayani due up as they try and go 9-9 in interleague play with a victory here tonight. Conclude interleague play 2000. Pitch is taken down low. We've now passed the 3-hour mark of this game. It is the 55th game this year that the Mets have played 3 hours or more. 55. They are 29 and 25 in games that last 3 or more hours.
Sometimes it's because of speed. Sometimes because pitchers work slowly. Sometimes there's a lot of offense.
92nd game of the year. 55th went 3 hours plus. They have had 4 games that have been 4 hours plus. Pitch is taken up high.
A lot of pitching changes.
That eats up a ton of time. I mean, rarely today do we see anything less than combined 5 or 6 pitches.
Yeah.
Almost every game.
So many specials.
Line foul by Zeal.
And managers have to be sensitive to pitch counts. I'm sure if the truth be known, they would like to just put the pitcher out there, forget the pitch counts, go with your gut. As you look at Armando Benitez, the big fella's about 6'4", 240 pounds, and they're counting his pitches.
Chopper by Zeal. Good as a bunt. Painter gets it. 1 away in the top of the 9th inning. Zeal heads back, and Jay Payton coming to the plate. Kit Steyer of the Journal News, who covers the Mets, gave me that number. He'd kept track of the hours. John Franco and Dave Wallace, pitching coach.
Yeah, Kit,
One down.
Kit doesn't like long games.
Likes them even less after he found out how many of them there were. One strike count on Peyton. Jay had a single in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 4 in the ball game. (11-7) lead. Painter into him, and that one off the end of the bat may have broken it. Center field. Cruz. 2 down. Does it bother you as much as it bothers me? Like here in Toronto, and we see this in other parks, there is some sound effect made over the PA system for virtually everything.
Yes.
It drives me nuts.
Nothing bothers me.
That's right. I should have. I knew that.
But I know what you mean.
I mean, you know, he caught the fly ball, and there's a "yeah, baby" or something for everything. Every guy's got a theme song that comes to the plate. Fouled off down the line. I mean, there's a train whistle. There's a foul ball. I mean, block.
And we get a duck in the booth.
Jeez, give it a rest.
We're trying to draw him here.
No, it's working.
It certainly is.
Got a lot of empty seats. Looking like people. 0-1 delivery, and that's taken inside. Benny Agbayani a single. 1 for 3 and a walk in the ball game. They play starting at, I think it's 6 o'clock or 6:30, 1/2 hour of commercials on their big scoreboard.
Yeah.
Without stopping. Straight through a half hour of commercial. I've never heard anything like that.
In most ballparks, they try to stay away. I shouldn't say most. A lot of the ballparks. Some of the ballparks. A few of the ballparks try to stay away.
That big
from
board right there
commercials.
in center.
Yeah.
Half hour before the game, it's one commercial after another. I mean, if I'm an advertiser, I'm really getting my money's worth out of that.
They got your attention.
No, I don't know what any of them were. And if I looked up and saw the advertiser, I'd make sure I didn't buy anything any of them were selling.
Because it aggravates.
Because it aggravates the heck out of me, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, you're not easy
3
to
balls, 2
aggravate.
strike count on Benny Agbayani. Oh gosh! You cover sports year-round. You're doing hockey and all the others. I mean, it's every building, all the time. It never ends. Painter knocks that one down. This inning will end right here. Bottom of the 9th, the Mets with a chance to take this series. Fernando Benitez is in the bullpen and ready to go when we come back. Not a save situation for Armando Benitez with a 4-run lead. Jays have actually out-hit the Mets now, 13-12.
Well, they pitched John Franco in last night's ball game, and Franco did a nice job. Kind of surprised Bobby just didn't send him out here for the 9th inning. But Armando Benitez comes in to lock the door.
Rodriguez, 2/3 of an inning, a couple of runs on 3 hits. And Franco came on to get the final out without giving anything up. And now Benitez try and finish it up.
Well, the Orioles got rid of Benitez, trading him to the Mets, and they haven't been the same since. Their bullpen has really struggled.
They'll be looking to unload as that trade deadline draws ever nearer. The last of this month, final day for trading in the majors as far as players who will be positioned for postseason. 2-0 delivery down to first. Zeal and that all-important first out. Brad Fulmer, 1 away.
Charles Johnson, losing arbitration with the Orioles during the offseason, said he's not coming back. He's having a big year offensively.
Franchise that has sold out so many games, starting to turn the other way. Fans have become disenchanted. Baltimore team that was really disappointed. They've not lived up to the expectations, correctly or incorrectly.
Talked about this ballpark as being an attraction, drawing people. Camden Yards, the ballpark. They come from far and wide to say, I've been to Camden Yards.
It's a great ballpark. And here at SkyDome, 24,633 announced tonight. They're averaging a little over 20,800.
He's a good major league hitter as you look at the Hard Rock Cafe. You've been up there for dinner, I'm sure. Mine to see one up there tonight.
And a grounder down to third. Lenny Harris off the dirt portion. Off the mark. Tag made by Zeal.
Zeal getting more and more comfortable at first base. It's been a smooth transition after some pebbles in the road. It's been a smooth transition for Zeal at first base. Here's Batista hitting the ball down to Lenny Harris. Harris throwing into the runner. Zeal moving that way and making the catch and the tag. Throw across the infield.
Work by Zeal. 2 down. Fletcher. Well, looks like Shannon Stewart, who has 4 doubles in this game, is not going to get a chance unless a big 2-out rally is mounted here. Never been a 5-double game. That one fouled off. The last player with 4 doubles in a game was Albert Bell, September of '99. It's now been done 21 times in the American League and 20 times in the National League in history.
Albert Bell, the only one in the history of the game to hit over 50 home runs in one season and have over 50 doubles. I think Lou Gehrig at one time had a shot at it. He ended up with 47 home runs and over 50 doubles. I believe he probably came the closest until Albert Bell did it.
1-1 count, 2 away. That one bounced in the dirt. Fletcher 1 double in the second inning, 1 for 4. Mets with a victory here will finish up interleague at 9-9, and so will Toronto. Mets are with a victory here 9-3 lifetime against the Jays, the times they've played them. That pitch is taken up high, 3-1. Tomorrow night, Montreal, Glendon Rush, Tony Armas, right here on Fox Sports New York, and Thursday afternoon at 1:30 on the WB11. Foul back.
Thursday afternoon, Mike Hampton against Dustin Hermanson.
Good matchup.
Yeah.
That means Hampton's going to miss the Atlanta series, with Millwood going against Leiter, Mulholland against Reed, and Maddox against Jones. That's the lineup right now. Hampton pitching on Sunday.
Well, that game in Montreal just as important. Hampton.
That one hit in the air to left field. Should be it. Agbayani. Ball game is over. And Fletcher, Morrow, who'd come on rather, made the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Armando Benitez.
So Benitez comes in, locks the door, but there's the guy right there, Mike Piazza. Grand slam home run. He's now got 28 home runs on the season. Lenny Harris with a big night, leading off the game with a dinger. Also picked up a double. And Derek Bell, a home run over that center field fence. So the Mets victorious, winning the rubber game of the series.
On to the Canadian Tour to Montreal. Our final here. Mets win it 11-7.